Oh.
Yes, exactly. It is session 30, and I don't remember the exact day. Let me find the day for you all. I think it's the 13th of March in game, the third week of March, if you will, and a little over a week since you returned from your field trip. Waking up Monday, you would find in one of your pigeonholes, as always, notes left from Axel letting you know as close to last minute what is going on during your week as possible. Combat practice this Friday will be against Axel. There is a note in there that due to the fact that you've now selected your mission, there is a possibility that you may have to face up against the Deprived. The combat practice this Friday will be to help prepare you for that eventuality.
Now, going up against Axel, is that training us to get stronger, or is that training us to be able to take care of Axel once he finishes with the Deprived?
The
Yes.
thing the thing that you're getting from this is that Axel will be taking on the role of the Deprived for the combat practice, essentially. So that he will be mimicking that creature in terms of what he will be able to do, and so on and so forth.
Okay.
Is there anything anyone wants to do as they get up in the morning? As I guess the note is passed around from person to person, and
Was it deprived or depraved?
I think that sometimes they are called either. Deprived is usually the term for the entity before it's summoned, and depraved can be used to refer to it after it's summoned, a bit of a magma and lava situation, but people will interchange them without any real thought to the matter. It kind of means the same thing as someone saying magma or lava, basically, where people just use it no matter what, tend to.
And scientists cry in the background.
Yes, those who actually, come up with a taxonomy and know, there's some actual scholar sat there like, no, you can't call them the Deprived once they're out of here. They're clearly not deprived. They're in the world. Like,
They have been deprived.
they are privy to stuff. You know what I mean? But, for God's sake, toilet humor, great. Otherwise, you head to classes that Monday morning. Note that the class is a bit more packed than usual. It seems like the other members of Year 1, the other combat classes, are in here. And the normally, 1/3 full room is pretty much full to the brim. On the board written already is the name Mrs. Drost, and underneath it is Triage 101. It's written already on the board, but there's no teacher here yet. Atira, as you filter into the room, you do see Andres, who has saved a spot next to the window for you, who lifts his bag up to move it aside for you to sit there.
Starting the day off right. She goes and quietly sits next to him with a smile.
But, apart from Andres, Mistel's there, Carl's there. I think Aiden, who you have not met before, would be there as well.
I have a question.
Yes.
This would probably comes up as both a player question and something that Adhiro would muse on. Regarding the tale of Kale Calaf, I also know Kale here from Lamshi.
Yeah.
Is that a common name in any way that I know of?
It has become a common name, yes. So
okay.
It's not it's not John, you know what I mean? But it is still a pretty...
It's Kyle.
Yeah, in a sense. Yeah. Still a common name. I think as well there are some other people in here that you haven't met from class 3. So there would be Lily.
Oh god.
And Lindsay. I think you may have met Lindsay. I don't think I've showed you her art before.
I think the art sounds familiar.
Vance.
The art sounds familiar.
The art matches the description I may have said.
Yeah.
That is the rest of class 3 as well. Whereas I think Sigrid was the only one I'd really shown you before, who had been the person who had sparred with Dafer. You feel free to filter in or try and find people to sit next to if you want to.
Oh wait. Wasn't I supposed to cook for her or something?
Yeah, she
As a player, I
she fixes you with like a half-lidded look, you know, like sort of like a little bit further back in the room, kind of looking down at you from the higher position with like a kind of like half glare. You don't think there's any real animosity there, but she does realize that you obviously got distracted with the church and other things.
I think we all did. At least nobody. Oh god. Appointments in game. I am so bad at appointments. Jesus Christ. That is on me as a player, not on Dafer. Dafer would have remembered, but oh god. Dafer, I think, would look at her. It would take, I think, a solid 2 seconds before realization dawns on him, and a very apologetic look on his face.
She
emanates, and she sits down beside her.
Yeah, I can say she'll just like scoot up a little and like incline her head towards the bench for you to like take a seat there. But she'll like whisper to you another time.
Gladly. Entirely apologies. Busy weekend.
She nods, understanding. She seems fairly aware. Like, she knows you're all combat students there. You all have many obligations. Mistel doesn't, like, make a motion to you, Caliban, but you can see that there is a spot next to her that is free.
I'm sorry, who was it?
Mistel.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I just saunter over to her.
She just kind of like politely bows her head and says, feel free.
At this point, however casual Caliban tries to be with her, she's going to like act all formal and stuff, so might as well just reciprocate.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, take a seat next to her.
As you're like filtering in, taking seats, seeing who's there, you do hear the sound of like tense metal like rubbing past each other, footfalls getting closer. Most of year one seems to not be surprised by this. They seem to understand that this signals that someone is approaching someone they're familiar with, but it doesn't seem like something it doesn't ring a bell for you in terms of something you've heard or seen before. After a little while longer, a woman in her late 40s, Coptic in origin, with sort of like quite short, dreaded hair. Her skin is kind of pulled in a little gaunt. She has the appearance of like very strong forearms, the biceps really well defined, but she has these leg braces on that seem to kind of attach to an apparatus that then wraps around her shoulders and assists her with walking. She comes in, looks around and says, for those of you not familiar with myself, I am Year 1's combat tutor. My EK title was Dragosti, but you can call me Victoria Drost or Miss Drost, whichever you prefer. Like Dragon, let me just... She looks around and says, Class 10. I apologize, I don't think we've had time to meet. You were late starting, and then you were away on mission for some time. It's a pleasure to finally meet you face to face. With that, she kind of launches into how to deal with a group of people that have undergone, be it a natural disaster or attack from a group of monsters. She talks through assessing injuries, reassuring them, kind of goes through the process of working out who needs help, who can move themselves, all that sort of stuff as to helping organize a rescue. It may not always be that you are there to fight, but you might be there to lift up buildings, help clear rubble, conjure entities to look for those who are missing. She talks through sort of how to decide amongst you who is best for what role, who's nimble enough to go into the burning building, and who's best to remain outside and organize the others. Who amongst you is proficient in medicine? Is it just yourself, Clara?
I definitely am. I don't know about anyone else.
Is anyone else proficient in medicine as well? Dayfra, maybe?
Not me, I'm proficient in nature.
Nope, just Clara. Okay. Clara, please give me an intelligence check.
15.
15. Do you have the healer feat?
I do not.
You do now.
Oh! I have it back! After the last campaign, I didn't pick it up that early because I thought I had it. But now I have it again.
I just thought you were free.
In addition to that, everyone gets a +2 bonus to medicine. That does include Clara. So a flat +2 on top of whatever your medicine score is. You should be able to put that in on your character sheets in like the cog area. Should be able to just put the +2 in there.
Yeah, they let you set whether it's expertise or...
Yeah, that
whatnot.
should just be
You
able...
can also add flat bonuses.
You should just be able to put a 2 in a box, like an empty box next to it, and that should do it.
Yeah, to the right of the skill, there's a spot for a number.
Yep.
Caliban now knows how to apply Neosporin to himself.
Oh, I have a question. Is this original healer, or is this new version of healer?
I think it's original. I don't think I've actually seen the new version of healer. If there's something about it that you think is more interesting, then let me know. But for now, we'll just go with the original healer, which is the stabilize 1 HP and 1d6 plus a number. I think hit dice healing or something like that.
Yeah, they moved it to when you use healer's kit for like that action, the creature expends their hit die, and then when you roll a die to determine the number of hit points you restore with a spell or with the healer feat benefit, you re-roll the die on ones.
I think I prefer the original. It takes it away
I think
from
I
the
do also,
resources.
to be fair.
Yeah. I do like the fact that it is more than just the healer's kit on the new one, but I think overall I prefer the original, for at least for what we're doing. Alright. this obviously takes the like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. That this is what you're taught. You have Dragosti for the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and you kind of get the view that this is like she is Axel to the rest of the year one classes. Basically, she's the one that they go to for their questions and kind of cover their assignments and stuff like that. It's normally Axel does that for the year threes, as you're aware, but because your class got tacked on, it got added to his plate because he handles all the extra stuff. So yeah, this is who class 1, 2, and 3 kind of go to on a day-to-day basis. But you have your evenings to study as well. If there's anything you want to read up on, I know some people obviously they've got their rune projects if they want to keep doing that. And I'm not sure if Clara's still working on the clubhouse and bits and pieces. That can be done too if you don't want to study. But yeah, you've got a few days to cover if there's anything you'd like to do.
I have the most powerful motivating force in the universe behind me. The dreams of a little girl.
A small child, yes.
Oh my god.
Therefore, I'm definitely spending my evenings not spending too much time on the medicine classes, which I'll have internalized fairly quickly anyway, I assume.
And
instead doing my looking into my rune project.
Yep, cool. So I know Dafer's doing rune stuff. Anyone else?
Adhira will spend her study time conversing with Terminus on necromancy, like what defines certain spells. Like, okay, so there's Revivify and Life Transference, and that's the give and take of trying to restore things.
Yeah.
But where does blindness and deafness come in, or bestow curse? What makes those necromancy? Like, those are the kind of questions she'd ask him, pulling out each individual crystal and badgering him on it.
Give me an intelligence check with advantage, please, Tira.
Okay. $12.
He will explain that there's only one force of life, and to some degree, necromancy isn't a school unto itself so much as a beginning or end point of all the other schools of magic. What makes something necromancy is not the principles at play, but the source or the subject. For example, blindness and deafness is in essence some form of abjuration, in which abjuration is used in a way to cut off the senses to protect them from the stimulation of the outside world, whereas Revivify could be seen more in lines with a sort of strange application of evocation. What I will say is the Find Familiar spell crystal, as a subset of this understanding, you can now conjure ghostly spirits with it as a familiar instead of just the normal animals. Think of it as like reaching out not just for the form and or spirit that exists or like is the example of what you're summoning, but also as the idea that people believe in as the departed version of them. So you can have bats that can fly through walls, things like that, Tira.
Oh my gosh. That's sick as hell. I imagine one day Clara and Adhira talking. Clara just takes her Find Familiar crystal and summons a perfectly normal creature from Heaven's Pillar, fluffy, just absolute perfect specimen. And here it does hers, and just a ghost starts crawling up out from the ground.
I'm also imagining in Castlevania Season 2, there's that like half undead pug that Hector has, where it's like It's like half
Yeah.
skull and like burning blue eye, like something along those lines as well. But yeah. Okay, so that was Adhira for some necromancy stuff. Anyone for any more?
I feel like there was
Did
something I
Sam
wanted
just cut
to do,
all
but I
only for me?
forgot.
Nope.
No, he's not cut out. He's just waiting.
Just listening. Clara, did you say there was something you...
Yeah, I feel like there was something I wanted to do, but I've completely forgotten what it was, and I didn't appear to write it down anywhere.
Besides the club stuff?
Maybe you wanted to accidentally drop in on Uther's paint-based rune stuff, since that might cross intersect with some of the stuff you do.
Well, to be fair, she's the one who gave him the idea, but she doesn't, like, her ability to help with it is basically non-existent until the collaborative bit of bring all the runes that might be useful together is done, because that's the bit she doesn't know anything about.
Mm.
She just happens to be a good painter.
Yeah, more of the application
I mean,
side of things.
at this point, it's just Uther, like, cross-referencing what runes work best in paint for what we're doing.
Yeah, a bit of trial and error at the moment.
I think I might try and go into the city.
Yeah. Was there somewhere particular in mind that you had, or were you more just looking around?
I seem to remember that there is, like, a street that has stuff from Heaven's Pillars on. I can't remember where it is.
Yeah, I think that's in I-1. You can get there. It doesn't go through the city center, so you can get to the International 1 District to Grand Market if you would like.
Yeah, I'm gonna go there and just see what's around.
Okay.
What's the street called? Or what's the place called?
Grand Market in I-1.
Okay.
Give me an investigation check, Clara.
Sure can. Investigation.
Taking the train to Grand Market, it's one of those places where the first place you reach is quite obviously for people from the city who may have never been beyond the boundary of the Marquee Field. There are lots of stalls selling the obvious stuff, Clara. We're talking like spices and furs and other things that can only be found in Heaven's Pillar. Things that you might miss, but also are kind of like weirdly mundane to you, but very exotic to the people here. So there's like a huge gathering around these stalls. The further from the epicenter you get, the more towards things that might be more interesting to you get towards. You also find a lot of people selling fake or scam stuff, people selling false version of like heart root medicine and things like that, real snake oil style stuff as you move further away. And once you get beyond that kind of further circle, you start to find streets with decorations that you recognize, colored dyed fabrics kind of hung up in windows that remind you of the fashion back home. You start to hear the language spoken in the street interspersed among Parisian, interspersed among the High Zemessian and stuff. You start to hear the language from back home. And you would eventually stumble across a few different places. There is a plant shop that you recognize where in the window you can see some plants from back home called Little Root Plant Store. And then opposite that there is like a kind of like a cafe that seems to be called Little Root Cafe, and the two stores are kind of decorated similarly despite being on both sides of the road. They seem like maybe like co-owned by like a family or something like that, Clara. And yeah, there are clothes stores here that kind of remind you, again, the fabrics and the colors of home as you're kind of walking down a few of these streets.
Yeah, I'm gonna go into the plant store.
Yeah, heading into Little Root Plant Store. There's that jingle of the bell as the door opens up. You see there is an older woman with sort of like half moon spectacle glasses. Her hair is going to gray, but you can see it used to be like a deep darker color. And there is a array of plants in here. Some of them the more exotic and interesting, like some even carnivorous plants that you can find sometimes like hidden amongst the tree roots. And there are some mushrooms in here that grow only on the Heaven's Pillar trees. These like it's like she's put bark from some of the trees up on the wall, and the mushrooms are kind of growing in the store where the wall has been like affixed to with some of this pulled away bark.
Kind of cool. I'm gonna have a wander around. I'm gonna look at carnivorous plants because I feel like that would be something good to put in my club room, actually.
Yeah, looking at them, they're quite sweet smelling. It's the kind of thing where something crawls onto it and the sweet smelling stuff happens to be sticky, and then a kind of like a sheet falls over the top of it, and at that point it seals and gastric acids are flooded into that, and then the top pulls away. It's kind of like a pitcher plant, but it's more like if you imagine it would sit in a knot of roots, so like it would kind of be like a well of stickiness, and then there's like a flat thing that folds over the top. So instead of it being all one plant, it's kind of in symbiosis with the roots of the tree. They're particularly good at dealing with like termites and things like that, so the trees allow them, they kind of like grow these gnarled roots, and then these plants sit in them and keep pests away, essentially.
Yeah, I'm gonna go over to the woman who seems to be running the place.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, I'm sorry. How much for one of those plants over there?
She sits up, looks over at the plant and says, and you would be capable of caring for them? A great many people don't have access to the sort of insects and other things that such a plant would require to sustain itself?
Yes, I think it should be fine. I'm attending one of the EK academies, so they've agreed to provide me with some things that you can't usually get.
You can see her looking at you, Clara, with this like... she can hear your voice, your accent, you're like... clearly not from Empress, like herself. Her voice is very similar, and like she's like looking at you like, well, I know Clara Lux Maddox like was taken from, and then she was becoming an EK, but surely not in my shop. So like she's got this like look on her face of like, no, definitely not. And then she says, yes, I understand. Well, I could part with it for around 30 gold. I would, obviously it has the root piece with it, which is really sort of the more expensive part of the plant to get here.
I understand. It's nice to see some things from back home.
It is indeed. I feel blessed to work in a place that seems to thrive on being home.
Yes, sorry. That should be fine.
Well, certainly. Is there anything else that interests you?
Just out of interest, how much, I suppose, gold or credits do we get put on our cards each month?
I think you guys get 100 each month. So you've been here like 2 months. You've probably got 200 if you haven't spent anything, as it does seem to rack up, as it were.
Yeah, I didn't spend anything the first month.
Oh wait, that shit resets?
It's like an installment, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it does stack. I think I may have said that it doesn't to begin with, but I've changed my opinion on it. It will stack up, so.
I'll just add a number there then.
Yeah.
Right.
Don't.
Do you have anything that I suppose people from the city would consider unusual? Perhaps something that looks dangerous but actually has a very common use?
She thinks for a moment. And then nods. She walks into the back room and comes back out with it's a potted plant, but it's got like a trellis built into the pot, so it's like a big long stick with multiple kind of jutty out sticks as well, and then woven around it is vines that would normally go up the side of a tree or something like that, sort of like a climbing ivy type plant. As she brings it out, however, your eyes kind of get confused by it, and you realize it has some sort of magical effect where it's got like a trick to it with regards to depth and like the clarity with which you can see. It sort of like has this mesmer effect to it that doesn't cause you to stare at it, but kind of befuddles the mind. As she brings that plant out and puts it down to one side. And she says, these plants are often used by trappers. They're designed to sort of befuddle some of the creatures that climb the trees in Heaven's Pillar, but trappers often lay them over, various tools for capturing small pests and otherwise that roam the forests and relocate them. Perhaps this?
Yes, that sounds perfect. I'm leading a school project. It's about esoteric plants and animals, ones that people may not fully understand, and educating people on their uses.
Well, this sounds perfect then. If you want to buy both together, I could probably do it for 50 gold together for both.
Yes, absolutely. Take 55.
Oh.
It's nice to be around people who understand.
Thank you very much. You're at a Mortis, or?
I was. I transferred. I'm at East Academy.
Oh my. Are you of the Luxmatics family, my dear?
I could rather tell that you didn't want to ask. She holds out a hand and curtsies slightly. Clara, Mom.
She curtsies back and says, I feel blessed to know that you have graced my store. Yes, thank you for your kindness as well.
Please, the pleasure is all mine. I honestly just came for a little bit of a walk, but... sorry, is this some sort of family business? I noticed the cafe across the way also has the same name.
Oh, yes, my daughter runs the cafe. I tend the plant store. It's a little busier over the road. This is more my speed.
I understand. Do you get many... How should I put this? I suppose, do you get many of our people, or is it mostly people from the city?
Oh, you'll find a great many of people from the Heaven's Pillar here or down this road, my dear. Yes, quite the community.
Maybe I'll have to come down here more often.
And my manners. My name is Gloria. It's a pleasure to meet you, Clara.
The pleasure's all mine, Gloria.
You have interest in the more magically minded plants. I am trying to get more curiosities from my store as well. Since I know you're at East Academy, would it be okay if I sent a letter if I had any new plants of interest? Should you be distracted or otherwise pulled away so you can't visit too often?
Yes, please do, actually. I've been looking to, I suppose, bring some touches of home, but, well, you're probably appraised of the situation. It's been proving somewhat difficult to request some things.
She nods and says, well, I hope the troubled times resolve into something that we can all be happy with.
Yes, I do as well. It'll take some work, I'm sure, but every little bit helps.
You can see that there's like a tinge of happiness, a tinge of like, it's not sadness, but there's like a sense of things aren't the way they used to be in her eyes. She's been around. She remembers a different time. But yeah, she happily hands over the plants to you. I think, Clara, you would find her very much wanting to fuss over you, saying, you can't possibly carry these back by yourself. Let me find someone from the street to help you carry it back, and like treating you like your name would dictate she should, in a sense. Yeah.
I'll allow her to fuss a little bit, but I will do my best to make sure that whoever she tries to like rope into helping me is actually willing to help because they're a nice person and they don't just feel like they need to because I happen to be who I am.
I think probably what she would end up getting is like one of the the cafe servers across the road. She would be like, you need to do this, like a young boy who's maybe like 16, 17-ish, I would say, Clara. Not super young, I suppose. Who like is being told your job now is to help Clara. Like that's as he's holding this this plant with the trellis and stuff and carrying it along. You can tell he's like he's shy because like he's been told by his boss you're an important person. He has no idea who you are, Clara. You can see that. He's like, Maddox is a thing that I remember, I guess. Like, he's probably grown up here in Empress City, you think. So he's like unsure how to be around you in a sense, Clara. He's like...
Yeah, she's gonna, I suppose, let him help her with the plants because she's not the most, I suppose, handy when it comes to carrying lots of things. But after her escort, she will thank him profusely. By the way, you shouldn't always just let them... how do I put this? You've done a very good job, and thank you for listening, and obviously you should listen to your bosses and things, but you don't have to fuss over me, it's okay.
He nods and says, I'm just happy to help Gloria. She's a bit of a pillar around here in a sense. I would be lost without her, so thanks.
She seems a wonderful woman.
He nods.
Do you... Sorry, this is a rather awkward inquiry. Do you take tips?
Sure, wow.
She's gonna like tap her card and give him like 2 gold or something.
Yeah, he pulls his like card out and you tap and you think about transferring the gold and it transfers the energy between the 2 cards and it's in his now. He thanks you. He kind of gives like a soft bow, the kind of bow that someone who's never bowed before sort of does, and is like awkward and is like, is this right? And then kind of turns on his heel and says thank you again before heading back towards the train station to return to I-1.
Clara is going to allow herself to giggle slightly, and then go and take the rest of her plants to the clubhouse.
Yeah. Heading in there, you can see the Monday to Wednesday, you're probably coming in like midway through the week. Seth has been in here, and the image is starting to sort of come to life. The first few color layers have gone on. The trees like need more detailing put on them, and like the flat colors of everything has gone in, and all the highlights need to go over the top, but it's like starting to come together. As you bring the plants into the room, it's got that faint smell of paint in there, with one of the windows sort of cracked open to let some of the fumes out.
Nice. My job here is done.
Uther, was there anything you wanted to do Monday to Wednesday?
I'll probably work on the paint rooms for at least a couple of those days.
Okay, good, 2 for rooms.
And then work on the Golem project a little on another. Which is basically just a shit ton of reading at this point, I think.
Yeah. Caliban, as expected, Monday evening, a letter comes from your father.
Oh boy, I crack it open.
What? So in the letter, your dad talks about having been included in the talks with the Centran Empire. He notes that the Council of Judges seems to have regained some of their senses lately, and is including at least the 5 top noble families in a few of the diplomatic discussions. He does lament the fact that the Von Styx family, so the River Styx, has a son that is going to be sent as part of a delegation to the Centran Empire, but of course with your obligations you would be unable to go with your studies. He follows up by saying he believes that this is a great opportunity for Empress City and for the noble families, especially since the need for magical arms and armor is great, and the noble families obviously have some of the greatest and most the ancient artifacts of the goddess amongst them. He thinks that there is a chance to leverage access to such things to the Centran Empire, even if the Council of Judges maybe doesn't want to do it. The noble families could maybe get something out of this.
Interesting. Do we know how many of the... Were there any family... There weren't any families excluded?
Well, there are about 50 noble families remaining within the city. The top 5 were the ones in attendance, essentially, at that meeting. It sounds like the number 2s to, so it's Von Halig is kind of at the top, being the owners of the Archangels and Mess's weapons, because obviously this whole empire was sort of founded by and for the Archangels and Mess, so there's sort of a hierarchy. The Von Styx family comes second due to the nature of the artifact that they have being incredibly powerful. Potentially more powerful than the blades that are in the possession of your family, or blade was blades. And it seems like the Von Styx family has kind of weaseled their way to have this representative go to the Central Empire, the first delegation of diplomats to cross the border in hundreds of years, right?
Mm-hmm. We know the remaining top 5?
Off the top of my head, I know that one has something to do with... I know one of them has a dragon mortar weapon. I know the name is somewhere around that, but my tablet literally just died on me, unfortunately. So I do, but I can't give them to you right now. I can give you to them between sessions, though. In fact, let me try and find a cable as well. Oh, I don't have enough spots.
No problem.
Yes, so yeah, I will give you the main 5, but I can't do it right now.
I'm guessing that the rest of the families are like, they're minor nobility or at least offshoots of the 5.
Yeah, there are some cadet branches in there. There's the Fjordis family, who obviously they have a powerful relic. It wasn't an Archangel's relic, but they were sort of allowed into the noble sphere. So the Fjordis family kind of falls into that 50 sort of area as well. They're not one of the big 5.
Does the Halleck family have any offshoots?
Technically, your uncle is an offshoot, having been removed from the main family. However, they don't count in the 50 either. They've sort of been disowned in a sense. Like, they can't take the fact he's nobility away, but they can ignore him into nothingness.
Yeah, fair enough. Gonna end up starting like a fucking yarn board of like nobility involvement.
I'll give you mine.
Just
if
much appreciated. But yeah, okay. Just wanted to know the houses at a later date.
Yeah, no, can do.
Yeah. Yeah, he's gonna put the letter back in and just place it elsewhere. Just keeping that in mind.
I will say, the Styx family, their angel arms that they have is a bow that doesn't require arrows, and the arrows are intangible except to anything that you want them to hit. So they can go straight through armor. You can think about it not hitting the outer shell of a miasmic monster. It will only hit the core. So it's essentially a weapon that pierces all defenses.
I only think that this would make a good weapon for Clara purely on the basis that she's the only person I know that uses the bow.
In what world?
She got throwing chakram, I guess, but yeah.
Oh fuck!
Yeah.
No. Okay, who was I thinking of?
I don't know.
To be fair, she might transition to having a bow. It depends.
Nope.
I mean, I thought she was using a bow.
I
For
think
the longest
it's
time.
okay.
Nobody
Sam
uses a bow
describing
in
it
this
as
setting.
Clara shooting bullets for like the first 12 sessions of the game.
For the longest time, I thought she was using a chakrams and a bow.
I messed up and described it as a gun for some reason. I think we may have had a discussion at the beginning about what it could be, and for some reason my brain was like, she chose the gun, but she did not.
Now,
For the longest time, like, I know she used the chakrams. I was thinking, did she like hide the bow somewhere? Am I stupid?
I like the fact that Clara just has Schrodinger's weapon. It's well, not Schrodinger, like a quantum weapon. Whatever you think it is at the time, it just is.
It's a gun that doesn't exist.
I think she might eventually get a bow and just like lean full into a forest ranger. But for now,
well, wouldn't you know? I have just the weapon for you.
Would you like to plunder the artifact of a noble family who's in my way?
I think we have a perfect opportunity here.
A beautiful partnership.
Oh my god.
vomit, boke.
Boke.
Dafer and Uther, if you give me intelligence checks with advantage, please, for sitting down and doing some rune studying.
You said advantage?
Yes.
Oh no, I'm stupid.
What I'll say is we'll move both charts on by 1. Obviously, you can't dedicate these next few days purely to the topic that you're studying, so you'd be doing the triage and doing whatever exams and bits and pieces like that as well. And Uther, in terms of the golem stuff,
I think we had discussed researching how Empress does most of their small robotic stuff.
Yeah. I think we've talked a little bit in the past about the difference between like the Gadfellow constructs and the like the command disc constructs are the ones with the little like the Robot Wars ones that that are being used in. Oh gosh, why am I losing the words I want?
The workshop?
The workshop, yeah, that's literally the word that I somehow just disappeared from my dictionary. The workshop.
Gadfellow had to get in there somewhere, so something had to die.
So as you're kind of looking at how Empress had used it, Gadfellows are like the most common. They're used in like warehouses as cheap labor, but it's so inferior to having like a human worker. They were used in some military applications, but because of the fragility of most Gadfellows, it didn't really catch on other than like, we really can't afford anything else. Throw some Gadfellows at it, give some Gadfellows some firearms and hope.
Oh no, they're B1s.
Kind of, yeah. I mean, they do have that same sort of like spindle frame to them mostly, because adding extra material to it doesn't help too much, so you may as well go with the bare minimum, but in a sense it sort of like is a self-fulfilling destiny as well, where it's like they don't do much, so don't spend a lot on them, so they're also not great anyway, so it goes in a big loop.
Get what you pay for.
I think what you find most interesting is that there are still some ancient golems in service to the city. Now, these are things that were like created during the Age of Grief when magic was still waning, but it was like much stronger back then. There are some defensive golems, for example, in the Hall of Justice that are like your traditional stone golems and things like that. They don't have as much in terms of like casting of spells that they used to be able to do, but in terms of a physical presence, they're still there. Yeah, so I think you probably read more interestedly on like the old golems of the city, what they do, what still works, what still could be replicated, and what would require like crystal or amber in order to imitate, basically. Yeah.
I have a question that's more Adhera based, real quick.
Mm-hmm.
There was a presence in the sewer. Did that get? Cause it reminded of one of the constructs from Lamshi.
I don't know if Adhera told anyone. She might have, but I'm not super sure.
I think she was muttering like that kind of frantic, panicked prayer, like I am a daughter of laments, blah, 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 as they were running from the slime. So I think it'd be kind of perception memory.
I think, Uther, you're pretty observant to what other people are doing. Paying attention to people is sort of part of the parcel, in a sense, for what you do. So you probably would have noticed Adhera respond in a kind of religiously reverent sense towards the sewers. I don't know beyond that what Uther would make of it, though, so yeah.
Okay. I was just trying to remember if it was specifically mentioned or not to all of us.
No, I don't think Adhera was like, I think there's a guardian, a giant, like, spirit mech thing in the sewers. No.
Okay.
Right, no.
Alright. I'll approach it from a different angle then.
Okay. Monday to Wednesday rolls by. It is Thursday, which is club day. Is anyone got anything particular they want to do? Clara, I don't know whether you were going to try and finish up.
Flan Club.
Do you want to try and open the Flan Club up today?
I mean, yeah, I'm gonna, even if nobody comes, I need to start strong.
Okay. Okay, so I know Clara's doing that. Caliban, were you going to the sparring with Mistle? I think.
Yes, I was gonna invite her.
Yeah, that's right. I'm pretty sure it was Kyle that asked you to do that. Dafer, cooking club?
I think given we have a fight coming up, I would. Wait, is there some kind of medicine club or the like? Because I would want to mostly do spar, but also take a quick step in whatever medicine club or the like is there and ask somebody a few things.
I don't know if there would be like a medicine club. That's an interesting one. You could definitely go to the
So,
the nurse's office and
the
talk to them.
the main goal would be about physiology, like how, um, like what does the body react to in terms of various ingredients, like how and what has generally positive aspects, because there is such a thing as medicinal cooking, and that
You
I think would be something that Dafer would be into.
you do know that the Supernatural Club has a potion making segment to them. With that,
Okay, that goes in, like my mind went into the, I don't know if you watched Shokugeki no Soma,
the witch
one of them
girl, yes.
one of them does this Chinese, well, no, one of them does, not the witch girl, one of them does the Chinese medicinal cooking kind of thing.
Yeah,
That
the
was where my
blue-haired
mind
girl.
originally went going, and yeah, and you immediately went for the one that does like the pitch tar black
Yeah, no,
ramen
yeah.
noodles with
It would be a cauldron, that not a cooking pot.
I mean, I would give it a visit, yeah, sure. Um, yeah, but like that was mostly for discussion, seeing for like pointers of where things could develop in one direction.
Okay, so you're heading
For like
to
experiments
the
with different prototypes.
Supernatural Club in a bit. Adhera.
Yeah, after sparring in the martial arts club.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to. Well, first, I also would have asked Vera sometime during Monday through Wednesday if she knew any good lamb-sheep place to eat.
She would absolutely give you an example. I am suffering a little bit because my tablet is dead. So I am struggling to remember off the top of my head the names of some of these places, which is making this difficult for me.
You had names?
Yeah, of course I did. We've talked about like, I think we've made jokes about little lampshade and stuff like that before, but it's obviously been in my book for a while since we started. So I know there are a few restaurants on that street, 3, I believe. One of them is underneath one of the like taller townhouse buildings. There is a no, there's 2 on that street, but there is a more upmarket lamshi restaurant as well in the very center of the city. I think that has something to do with one of the true names of one of the guardians. You know, like it's not the guardian. It's the something, and it's like the name that the settlement has.
The name
for
of
that.
the gym it's named after. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's the it's either like the Jet Kitchen or Jet Dining or something like that. That's one of the ones that's like really expensive in the middle of the city. And then there's one called there's a Sandborough one, I remember, where it's kind of decorated on the inside to look like sand has been pressed up against the walls and wetted and then dried and sort of painted over to keep it in place. And it gives the walls that rough texture of what it would be like in an actual eatery in like one of the underground cities in Lamshi. I remember that as well. So yeah, you'd be told a few different places.
That's the one. That last one would be more of the idea for going out. But what she actually does, she was going to check on the tree, but I think instead she's going to hang around the workshop and either get Adrian's help or someone else who would specialize in this sort of stuff and start crafting a device that, I'm trying to think of the best word, debilitate the Sonic when it comes close.
Yes. Give me an investigation check to begin with. 7. Obviously, Robot Club is on today. People are very invested in these little death machines colliding into each other. You do manage to find Izzy, who finds the little robot things to be, like, amusing, but in a sense, like, childish. She's kind of, like, off to one side. She looks at you, Atira, and says, you want something that will interrupt, like a dream, in a sense, right? Like a bad dream, is that?
Yes, it's some kind of, well, it has a spirit form that enters people's dreams. So I thought maybe it could be something that an aura could focus on, keep out, or if it enters, afflicted with something.
She thinks for a moment and says, I can't help but imagine that if such a thing was possible, it might already be in use. But what is interesting is she opens up her like little private notebook and starts flicking through some pages, opens it up and says, I discovered a crystal with a set of runes on it that I believe would allow one person to enter another person's dreams. Perhaps this would allow someone to guard another while they sleep, in a sense.
She's going to lean forward, taking a closer look. Now, is this... She's saying that this is a pre-existing crystal, or is this a set of runes that could be carved into it?
It is a crystal that exists, but a set of ancient runes that she believes, when applied to it, might allow someone to enter someone else's dreams with agency, and if there is a foreign entity, assist in the defense of their psyche in such a situation.
What would we need to do?
Well, first I would need to get permission to access it, as I have only been allowed to examine it, not exactly work with it. And second of all, if we want it to be something that is more group-focused, we'll need this as well. She flicks a few pages over and shows you the telepathic bond crystal notes that she's taken. If we can somehow combine both of these, it would allow a group of people to freely enter each other's dreams as they slept at night, at least for a while.
What can Adhera do? I don't know if she can do anything to like bribe or use money to get it so that Izzy can see this crystal, but maybe the second one?
So
She can do something?
the best thing you can do here is obviously you can talk to Axel. Alternatively, you can spend some money and buy a version of it for yourself. You could purchase one of these crystals from outside of the Academy, and the Academy can't stop you from owning stuff. Like, if you want to go to a store and buy a telepathic bond crystal or whatever, you absolutely can. How much that will cost you, obviously, Adhera, you've got no real idea off the top of your head just looking at it. So yeah, I mean, you're not going to be able to afford both, and you're not going to be able to convince them to give you both, so you're going to have to find some way around at least one of these, right, basically.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it does look like it might be possible, and Izzy could do it, theoretically, she thinks, but the resources required are sort of above where you are in terms of your education right now, Adhera, as you're looking at it, is basically what you're being told by Izzy.
Mm. Damn. No chance. I get one, but not the other.
Well, maybe if I have one, I can at least play around with it, see if there's something that can be done. In your mind, Adhira, not willing to exit their lamp in such a place, you do hear the voice of Terminus that says, I might have something I can do to assist her as well. At least if you have one of the crystals.
I'll first reply back in my head. I'll see what I can do. And then she repeats that out loud, putting a hand on Izzy's shoulder in a friendly pat. I'll see what I can do.
She nods and says, always like requests from your class. Always a little bit above what I should be doing. I like that.
Worst comes to worst, it's still an opportunity to test stuff out. See what we are capable of.
I do like to mess around with expensive crystals.
I think she'll spend a little bit more time around the workshop. Maybe cheer on a few of the fights as she thinks about her options for obtaining a crystal.
Mm-hmm. You said with Izzy, she's got this so it's like a stone slab, like a tablet of stone, but they've been bound together with kind of like what you think is maybe animal hair tied into rope that smells awful, like someone's kind of like rubbed a material on it to make it preserved, but it's got this awful scent to it. It's like a prehistoric book. Like someone was like, I want to make a book, but all I have is stone tablets. And
someone grew up with the Flintstones.
Yeah, kind of. It kind of does give that sort of feeling of like, why would you bother doing this? Other than to like be like, hey, look, an anachronistic book or whatever.
Does this feel like it's because Izzy is strong in some way, or there's something that she does to paper? Like, does this feel like a protective benefit?
So what you're what you're getting from like Izzy kind of talking about what she's doing out loud as she's doing it, kind of like train of thought style, is Izzy specializes in runes that she believes are forgotten. And this stone tablet is the sort of like gift that she was given. Like, obviously, you know about these papers that are being written by certain people. When she talked to Dragosti about what she wants to do for this paper, this was the thing that was given to her. And the stone tablets themselves have runes on them that aren't in any of the catalogs in the academy. So that's what she's doing with it right now, is going through them and trying to work out what the fuck they do.
Okay.
Yeah. Uther, what were you doing on your club day? Did we already cover that? No, that was Monday to Wednesday.
No, we did.
Yeah, Uther, what are you up to?
Probably just want to chill in the art club again.
Yeah, doing clay work, yeah?
Yeah.
Getting...
I don't technically have the proficiency for the tools, so...
Working towards that, absolutely. And like doing like increasingly more complicated shapes, yeah. So like getting closer and closer to like making the centipede body or whatever that you want to make. Is that the idea? Uther is like working towards.
Yeah,
that.
it's just general clay work at this point, and like he might start working on like a little like person shaped doll at first, just to work my way up, because didn't we discuss that like human shapes are less complicated than animal shapes because there's less bits to them, basically?
Yeah, that, and people like the collective consciousness of humanity has a better impression of how people move and act than they do certain animals as well, which helps with the enchantment that has been placed upon all of reality by the goddess.
Wanted to find a centipede, just keep in a shoebox and study.
Yeah, so like making a little human shape with clay in the art room. Caliban taking Mistle to the practice rooms for dueling. She has her 2 rapiers. She looks at Caliban. She says, "Does your family style not use 2 blades as well?"
I typically defer to only one, but hold on. Does out of character, does Mistle know about the whole other weapon, Zemes weapon?
She
missing?
seems to be aware that your family has like 2 of these weapons, right? As she said, like, I'm pretty sure your family style uses 2 weapons. She might not know the full story behind everything else. She hasn't mentioned that to you, Caliban.
And the taking of the other weapon, Ruin, was like long before Caliban was even alive.
Not long before, but like, I guess depending on your frame of reference, yeah, before you were born. Obviously it was your uncle that did it.
I believe you said about 40 years ago?
Yeah, about 40 years ago, so like double your age in a sense, right? Like Caliban, so like, yes, quite a while ago.
Yeah, so as far as I can tell, Caliban is the only... Knowing that there's 2 swords, but only having grown up with just knowing there's only one in the household.
Yeah.
Sort of just like... I'm trying to see if there's like an underlying implication of what she is also saying, or if there's just like a genuine, like...
Give me an insight check.
You said insight check?
Please.
Okay.
15. As she's like standing on the mats and she's got her 2 blades that she pulls out, and she sees that you pull out one, and she remembers like, oh, I think I've seen Caliban use like a blade and maybe like an offhand knife. You kind of see in her head she's thinking like, is Caliban holding back? Is sort of like the question that's on her mind. Like she's like, I'm pretty sure Caliban should use 2 swords is like what's in her head, and she's trying to work out like, have you been holding back this entire time since you joined the academy, is what she's trying to work out as far as you can see Caliban.
Caliban just sort of shakes his head. He's like, ever since the incident of the family, and there being only 1 blade within the household, I have only deferred to only using 1 weapon. Though, he sort of just like gestures to the parrying dagger in his offhand. I've come around to modifying my technique.
I think it's a good thing to do. Who knows? Your family might recover the other blade one day. You might be the wielder of both.
And what about you? You seem to defer to using 2 rapiers. I assume it's merely out of preference, or...
One blade is sort of a family blade in a sense. The other was developed by my mother. In some ways, you could say one of these swords is from my father and the other is from my mom.
I see.
This one is made from the bones of a storm dragon. The metal conducts electricity better than any other, and there's amber built into the hilt.
Caliban chuckles. I had an inkling of note that there would be some measure of embaric in the blades.
I
I just
suppose
didn't know to the
it's
extent.
it's suffused my life since I was quite young. It's been in our house since I can remember. I thought it was normal until I left, saw everyone else treating it differently.
Well, with that in mind, just sort of like gets into a sort of stance, shall we?
Would you mind if I practiced my one-handed as well, if we're here to fence, perhaps?
By all means.
Would you
Sorry.
like to try? She flips her sword and holds the handle out towards you, the one with the dragon bone and amber in the hilt.
A little bit caught off guard, but he takes it nonetheless. He sheaths like his own personal weapons and just like takes the one that she offered.
It's named Zerm, by the way, after an old story.
Repeat that one more time.
Zerm, Z-U-R-M.
Okay.
And then yeah, she brings her other sword to bear.
Let's see. Are we like going into the description of the fight, or?
Yeah, so how do you want to go about it, Caliban? Are you kind of trying to get used to the blade more, or yeah?
I'll let her make the first move in the spar.
Yeah, she seems... At first, as you're looking at her, she's a little unbalanced. She's used to having a weapon in each hand, so she kind of like tries to find a position for her free hand now that feels more comfortable. And she eventually settles for it kind of out to one side a little, and her stance kind of shifts forward a little, so she's got the point reaching quite far out, even with her elbow bent. And she just does like a little testing strike with the blade towards you. How do you want to play it?
The same way that I did with the Clarent, but a little less, but significantly less condescending.
Yeah. So still reactive and kind of matching pace in a sense, right? Like testing things out. Yeah, give me an attack roll. You can use it as if you've got your own weapon in hand. It's basically the same stats. So. It's a little heavier than Noblesse Oblige, being made of this metal that is taken from, like, a dragon's remains. It's got this heft to it that you're not quite used to. The strike comes, and you're able to move, but you're, like, a little later with the parry. You flick her blade aside, but it doesn't feel quite natural to you. What you do find interesting is there's a slight magnetism to the blade, which means when you flick her blade aside, you have more control over where it goes afterwards. It isn't like a simple deflect. You're sort of like in control of where her sword drifts off to either side afterwards with this weapon, Caliban.
And that's is that just like a natural effect of the Embark, or is that
It seems to be...
It's weird effects with him.
It's got like it's like a natural effect of it being ambaric and being this dragon bone weapon as well. The energy that's being conducted through it is like conducted through it so efficiently that there is lightning constantly moving through the blade, but it's never using up any of the lightning from the weapon. So it's got this like electromagnetism to it, Caliban.
Interesting. So the fight continues,
yeah.
I assume.
Yeah. You're just kind of like testing each other, working up to strikes. Occasionally sparks of lightning comes off from the blade you're holding, and little flecks of radiant energy kind of burst from the blade that she's holding, as you duel with the two of her weapons back and forth. She fights a little differently to you, Caliban. You're like, you're, the quintessential, like, dueler, essentially, where it's like a constant flow of back and forth strikes. whereas Mistle seems to want to create an opening and exploit the opening and then get back and away and then recreate it. She's very good at reading you, Caliban, you realize. Like, she gets a sense for how you fight quite quickly. She has a good set of, like, she has a good insight into you.
Interesting. I think I might do the same. Try to read like where the faults lie in her style.
Yeah, give me an insight check. 12.
Mm-hmm.
She's focusing too much on her opponent and forgetting herself, in a sense, Caliban. Where, like, she's too interested in the next move you might make. Even though she's a very experienced fighter, she does some, like, basic situational awareness with, like, where her feet are planted, where her body is, like, whether her stance has shifted at all. She seems to lose track of herself in the fight, basically. And you saw this as well in the fight where Clara was able to disappear and pick her off when she was kind of honing in on the target in front of her. Everything else kind of disappeared. Her weakness is, like, losing track of something for the focus that she has available to her.
So it's a constant read and attack, but with no focus on herself.
Yes. She's kind of like hyper fixated in a sense.
I think I would have to get much closer, put her in a position where she can't draw back the blade.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, closing the gap, putting her in a position where she tries to draw back and realizes she's out of mat. It's like a sudden realization that she's where she is in the room. Like, you see the, like... It's not panic so much as, like, someone who was in a train of thought being interrupted from it, right, Caliban? There's, like, a moment of shock and her body freezes up, and she's open to however you want to finish this fight, Caliban.
I think I'll pause right there. I think I'll give her some time to, like, see how... if she can come up with a reaction.
Instinct takes over. The crystal at her waist glows, and she disappears and reappears kind of like 30 foot away in a different direction where she's got more space, but only after, like, a pause and a think, right? Like, she has this object on her that she relies on in situations like that, but it took her long enough to use it that, Caliban, you could have, you know, with an action surge, maybe gotten enough hits in to finish the fight there. And she recognizes that and, like, stops for a second and wipes her forehead and says, I didn't realize I was so close to the wall.
I think the issue here is more situational awareness. You focus too much on the opponent that you don't have. You're less aware of your nearby surroundings within your peripheries.
She takes a deep breath in and says, Kyle said something like that to me a few weeks ago. Didn't really pay
Honestly,
attention to him.
He chuckles like, don't worry, it's something that can be rectified with practice.
She nods.
Mm-hmm.
Let's try and focus on that, if that's okay.
Also, I'm assuming that the shard was like a spell of Misty Step.
Yes.
Okay, I was thinking also that trick with the shard. That was smart.
It's good for difficult situations.
Always know your limits and when to supersede them.
I'm not supposed to have limits, but I guess I do.
Trust me, even I have limits, and I sort of like Caliban just sort of like puts his hand like on the embark like dragon blade, seeing if there's like a current going through it if he like touches it.
Yeah, there's it's like a low feeling of static, but you're aware that if you were to focus on it, you could expand the amount of electricity flowing through the blade to the point where if you wanted to, Caliban, you could launch a full-on lightning bolt out of the tip of the sword at any moment you wished.
Is this just a sword ability, or is this a Caliban thing?
No, it is tied to the blade, but there is some level of like Caliban, there's something more intrinsic and innate for it as you're holding it. You're aware in a way someone else might not be, Caliban. Should we put it that way? There's like an instinct to this.
Like, I don't want to say a sentience to this.
It's like a conversation you and the sword are having without words, and most people can't talk to swords, Caliban. We'll put it that way.
Of course. I sort of like hand the sword back to her, and I look at the other one and just say like, trade.
Yeah, of course. She throws that blade to you.
Is there anything?
Yeah, you recognize immediately this is a weapon that is probably reforged from a lesser angel's blade, so it is divine as you grab hold of it, Caliban.
How does this one feel in comparison?
It feels much more comfortable in the hand, Caliban.
Just like sort of a small test swing.
Yeah, there's some degree of like, as you're moving it, obviously it took a while for you to adjust to the previous blade. It takes no time at all for you to be like, oh, it's different to my normal blade, but this is how I use this one. It just makes sense to you innately.
If you want to move on from this scene, it's fine. Just one more thing.
Yeah.
If there's going to be a secondary spar with this, I want to see if Mistel has more natural affinity for the dragon bone sword that she has now in comparison to the sword that Caliban is now wielding.
You do get the sense that Mistel is more comfortable with the blade that she's holding right now. You want to give me an insight check as well, again?
Yes. Give me 1 second. I swear, if I get another 12.
It has been oops all 12s. 16. There's two things going on there. One is you get the feeling she's just not as comfortable with the divine nature of the blade. That obviously Caliban to you makes perfect sense to be like, you're not unfamiliar with divine weaponry, but for her it's something a little alien and strange, whereas the other blade isn't. And you also think that maybe when she was younger, her first weapon that was given to her was this dragonbone one. So she's probably trained with that sword that she's holding now since she was quite little. So it's much more comfortable in a general sense to her.
Oh. And when she fights, she fought with the divine weapon in which hand?
She fights with the divine weapon in her offhand.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Cool.
You guys duel for a little bit longer until you trip her up on her problem a few times, but she's starting to get more comfortable with it. But after a while, she stops and says, I actually have something I want to go take a look at, but thank you, Caliban. This has been good.
No problem. He sort of like just gives his formal bow again.
This Saturday, would your class want to come to a meal? I'll pay for everyone, my class as well.
I would be more than happy to join, but I'll put in I'll put in a word to the rest of the party. See,
obviously, if it works for everyone else's schedules, I don't want to interpose.
Of course, I'll let them know.
She bows and then puts her swords away and heads off. Dafer, walking up to the kind of like supernatural esoteric club, the door has been taken off of the hinges for this club. There is instead this like purple curtain that is hung over the door frame. You can see odd lights coming from within of strange colors, some colors of which you no longer you don't recognize. Like, I can't give you a word for them. They aren't colors that exist. As they glow through the space of the door itself. There are little offshoot rooms. One door is closed, and it's almost like a fog machine on the other side. You can just see it's kind of billowing out from under the door frame. There are spiritual orbs floating around the room, and you can actually see two people with these, like, they almost look like, it's like an incense stick, like a long stick with the end is a light, and as they drag it, colors and smoke is coming off, and they're like making pathways for the spirits to follow and doing a dance together. Two people with these sticks, and as they dance, the orbs move around. Approaching the doorway and kind of like even glancing in, there is a breeze that ruffles the curtains out and then pulls it back in. As from behind you, a quite short guy with, you know, I would say like quite stereotypically thick glasses is behind you, and he says, "So you've come seeking your destiny."
I'm not... You know what? I'm curious. What do you think my destiny is?
He leans over, he looks at you, and he says, "You're going to save the world."
I have strong doubts about that. My ambitions lie a lot smaller and a lot more realistic.
He looks at you and says, "From simple ideas come complex situations."
I think in his head, Dafer is just gonna, like, categorize the more stereotypical dude very quickly as just weirdo is too negative, but just strange fellow.
He puts his hand out and says, "I'm Liam. How you doing?"
Hi, Liam. I'm from the cooking club. I heard that you guys have I'm not sure, like a potion making section or the like. I was interested in, say, finding some, let's say, interesting synergies between what you guys use for potion making and what I use for cooking.
He nods and says, "I'm sure Umi would like a person to keep them company this evening. Come on." He gestures for you to follow him into the room.
Right. Okay. Sorry, what was his name again?
His name is Liam. Just Liam.
Okay.
He leads you to the door with the smoke sort of billowing out from underneath, and he opens it up, and it just floods the room as he walks in, and you hear his voice. You don't see him. He says, "This way."
All right, follow in.
You follow him in. The door closes behind you, despite the fact you're aware he's still in front of you. And as you stand in the room and the light slowly sort of begins to peel through what's left of the smoke that hasn't escaped this space, you see that there is a literal big black cauldron in the middle of the room. There are dried herbs and other things hung up on pegs in the space. The window is open and smoke is fully billowing out, but there's so much steam and other stuff coming off the surface of this strangely lime green water in the cauldron. You almost don't see the... it is a youngish girl, probably about your age still, Dafer, you would say. It's hard to make out any of her features because she's wearing a lot of fabric and she's hidden a lot behind her hair. But she's like very stereotypically over the top of the cauldron with a big stick, stirring it in big circles. And the liquid looks like really quite viscous as she's stirring it. Like she's having to put her shoulder into it to get it like from left to right. But the more she stirs it, the thinner you see it kind of become. It's sort of like reverse in viscosity as she's stirring it. Liam says, Umi, you have a visitor from the cooking club. She leans back, looks at you, like, kind of like sleep-deprived looking eyes, bags under her eyes as she looks at you and says, combat student, eh?
Yes, indeed.
She nods.
That and party cook.
She looks at you and says,
And you...
I follow recipes, but I wouldn't call myself a cook.
I am... I'm more interested in how you achieve the effects that you do, and looking to see if any of that can be incorporated into, let's say, more exotic cuisine to a degree, I guess. Let's say I'm trying something a bit more experimental.
She thinks for a moment and says, you could inject your food with some of my concoctions. I can give you a book of some of the potions I know certainly work.
I mean, some of that, I think the core of it all would be to figure out what part of the thing, or how the things you can concoct achieve their effect, and see if those can be just replicated during food creation. I guess some of it could just be mix some potion into a sauce or the like, but there might be other ways to achieve the same thing.
Widen, and she says, you would need a much deeper understanding of how my craft works if you were to achieve what you ask. Sounds like you'd like to come and join me a few weeks.
I mean, I'm a pretty quick learner. I'm pretty sure I can take this up.
Finally, a disciple. Yes, this will be good. And you can reach the top shelf. Excellent. I'll take him, Liam.
I just wanted to do medicinal cooking. Now I'm suddenly a witch's apprentice.
Now, taste this. Tell me if it... No, just taste it.
Dafer for a second hesitates, then realizes he is Dafer. So whatever this is, the chance of it killing him is very close to zero. So he just downs it.
You down it. It tastes like lime. It has like a warm tingle to it. And then the taste of lime doesn't go away, Dafer, and it will not go away for the next 24 hours. Well,
I've never tasted this kind of fruit before. It's sour. Kind of like it.
Oh, damn it. She sighs and looks at the potion. I made it too weak. It's supposed to be awful.
I mean, if somebody doesn't like lime, I think it's called, then I'm pretty sure this would be awful for them.
Yes, but I want it to be more bitter.
I mean, it is a little bit.
It's supposed to ruin someone's food for a while, like a curse.
How did you get the taste to last that long? I think this could be perfect if you mix it into if you have this kind of effect on something else.
What are you, stupid? No, we make curses here.
Still, how? Let's say for a moment. I'm just interested in how the fundamentals work. How do we, in general, get this lasting taste effect?
She like sighs and like opens a book and begins to teach you how to do some of these long-lasting effects and like other sort of strange esoteric applications. You can see all of her notes. She's like crossed out anything that might be, how do I put it, like beneficial or useful to someone, and made extra notes in the margins of like could ruin someone's appetite for a day, question mark, or like makes it so someone can't be comfortable for at least a week. Like different like little notes of like uncomfortable situations. You notice one of them is will cause person to lose belonging of unimportance occasionally, like things like someone's money disappearing between couch cushion things and stuff like that. Little like minor inconvenience curses. One of the ones she's got circled that she's trying to work out at the moment is a potion that will make someone always just late enough for an elevator that it closes before they get there.
Wow, she's a menace.
So pity. Oh, most dangerous character in the setting right there.
Because that's like fully stuff that you would definitely be like, oh, someone's put a curse on me. You just be like, man, my luck really sucks.
I imagine if I introduced this way too powerful woman to the other way too mean woman in my party. The amount of fucking terror they would wreak onto the academy would be immense. This must never happen.
As you're looking at it, you're like, this is like a sort of form of contingency that she's kind of like hijacking in order to make it so someone won't get to the elevator on time. But you could make it so that like whenever someone goes down, there would be someone nearby who had like medical skills or somewhat, like some way of like creating like a minor destiny in a sense. Like, but she's like making notes on how to make someone's day just a little bit worse, as far as you can see.
Oh my god! Like, oh my god! Major rescue cookies.
Yeah, kind of, right? Like as you're looking at this, and she's like idly explaining some of the things to you, you realize it's way more complicated than the notes she's got. But like, you realize if you spend time with her, you could maybe get her to like explain how to get to this point in a sense.
Imagine Dafer having like 10 different kind of little sacks of cookies on his belt, and it's like, little kid in danger. There might be something bad happening close. Kid, here, eat this cookie.
Yeah, like emergency rations that you distribute to a population to make it so that they get to the shelter in time or something like that. Things like that is fully possible as you're looking at this.
I think combine it. In that case, I believe this might take up the sparring time that he otherwise prepared. So I think Dafer would spend a significant amount of time with her, just like getting started, and particularly getting the long-lasting taste effect down. See if he can do some first experiments with that, and do a first experiment at the cooking club, like using the utilities in the cooking club.
So what I'll say is, like, today you kind of get introduced to Umi, and she like talks you through some stuff. Like today's kind of introductions. She's a third year logistics student, just so you know. So she's one of the students that like when other students are going on journeys, she makes sure like the trains are supplied. She makes sure that she buys in the materials that students might need that go into like the requisition store that you go to Dafer for rice and other things like that. Like the logistics students are kind of like a support class, but they go on usually to work for either EKs, or they go on to work in like the Peacekeepers or the 3Ts in order to help keep areas supplied, like logistically. They organize trains and things like that. So yeah. But Umi has a very specific set of skills. So yeah, you spend some time with her. I think that leaves Akira. Did we do yours? Sorry,
Yes, I had asked Izzy.
That's right, is he? So I think it's just
right,
Clara that's left. Clara, heading to the club room that morning, yes?
Yes, indeed.
And you've got your plants and stuff set up in here already?
The plant's there. I will carry the slimes over.
Okay. Walking in, you see Seth is here, finishing up some of the detailing on some of the trees as he's continuing to work on the mural. He's got actually a couple of people from the art club that you recognize have come over and are helping him with the animal detailing and stuff like that. As you walk in, he stands up and says, a few other people from the club mentioned that they'd be interested in working with a wall as a medium. Hope you don't mind.
Not at all. I'm glad to have more people here for the grand opening.
Indeed. He looks at the little vivarium that you're carrying with the slimes in it. Says, it's been a while since I've seen them. Kept them in your room.
Mm-hmm. I've, well, as it turns out, added more to the collection since the last time you saw them. The magma slime's kind of new.
He nods and says, that seems tricky to store, but seems like you're handling it.
It's okay. The water helps cool down the other slimes. Actually, if you put your hand in the pool, the magma slime can actually touch you without hurting.
He puts his hand in. If you're obviously if you set it down, he'll go for it and put his hand in and let the slimes explore, and says, I'll be honest, I've never really had much interaction with the slimes apart from, this is going to sound awful, but clearing them from the sewers. They're
Honestly, I wouldn't blame you, but I suppose that's kind of the point that I'm trying to make. Until recently, I hadn't had much experience with them either, and well, frankly, I've been quite shocked at how intelligent they seem to be. They have organizational hierarchies and ways of communicating. Oh, look at this. Clara's gonna put her arms up and do the pillar to say hello.
all three pillar immediately. He kind of raises an eyebrow and says, I've seen them a bunch. I don't think I've ever seen them do that.
Right? That's part of the reason I'm so interested. There's so many things that we just don't know about. They seem to have this own harmonic frequency that they communicate on, and they divide up chores and food in a way that best fits their needs. Also, one of them really wanted a hat, so I had to make them all hats.
It's funny, I mean, I've seen you excited before, but I don't think I've ever seen you quite so, I don't know, passionate?
This is... She looks around a little sheepishly. This is the part of me that I suppose I felt I had to conceal when I came here. My name and my reputation mean an awful lot to a lot of people. To most of them, I'm somewhat akin to an ousted princess. I'm supposed to be regal and noble and incredibly well spoken at all times. I'm not supposed to be the girl playing with slime.
I don't think anyone's supposed to be the girl playing with slime, Clara, but here we are.
Well, okay, maybe not in the contemporary world. What if this is my destiny? Look, they all pillared for me and they have hats.
I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying I don't think of you as anything other than a friend. So it's nice to see you happy.
I know what you meant. I'm just, I suppose, glad in a way that I've got something where I feel like I can be authentically myself. There's no pretense, no put on words, no airs and graces. It's just me and my friends and the things that I care about.
He nods. I can understand that. I feel the same way, just hanging out in the collective dorms with everyone, those evenings where we sit together, have a meal, just talk, play a game maybe. Just feels like peace.
I suppose it's important to remember amongst all the craziness that we are still people. We're still growing, even.
That's true. Anyway, I'll finish up some of this and then I'll hang around for a little and then head out.
Thanks. I appreciate it.
You know, it's happy to help. Turns back to the other students, like the other kind of people from the art club, and continues painting on the wall. Clara, what are you doing? Are you like setting up a display for people that walk in, or?
Yeah, I suppose like I'll pull over like a table to put the vivarium on and like a little sign up sheet. I'll let the guys keep painting, but I'll like display the new plants.
Mm-hmm.
I suppose I'll just wait to see who, if anyone, turns up.
Clara, as you kind of sit there and you busy yourself, a few of the art students, finish up bits and pieces and then head out. They wish you luck as they're leaving. A few people walk by the door and like take a look in. You see that their eyes are kind of caught by the tanks and the plants, but they seem to continue onwards after an initial glance, Clara. You see a couple of people walk by with like other people later. A few people look a few times, Clara, but there's like when they see the slimes, there's something in them that kind of dissuades them a little, Clara, you think. After a few of these passes, there is a knock on the door. Second year tech student Mary, you recognize having played chess with her before, says, "Can I come in?"
Of course. It's nice to see you again.
It's nice to see you too. I hear your class was kept busy for a while.
That's, I suppose, one way of putting it. It was a long first mission.
How's the weapon serving you? Helpful, I hope.
It's amazing. Honestly, so good.
Good. I recognize the plants from home.
I went for a walk down through I-1. There's this little plant store / cafe called Little Root. I was just looking for some things to make this place a little more active, a little less bare. But I got talking to the woman there and... oh gosh, it was so beautiful. I bought a couple. I thought they'd liven the place up.
She nods, looks around and says, is that what the club's for? Is it sort of a taste of home, or...?
And Clara's gonna hold up the side-up sheet with the Flan Club written in multicolored marker.
She looks at it. Flan? Like the dessert?
Kind of. It's designed to be about people who want to learn more about plants and animals that exist in the world, especially ones we might not think of. So I got some of the plants from home, the little trap ones and the ones with the weird tangly vines. And then these are the Flan Club. She like indicates to the slimes. They kind of remind me of puddings.
She like squats down a little, looks in the tank, says, "Is that a magma slime? I don't think I've ever seen one."
Mm-hmm. There's a fiber slime. We think that one's ferrofluid, and then magma. They also just created an egg, so there'll be something else in there soon.
She puts her hand near the glass where the magma slime is and says, "This one really puts off heat all the time?"
Kind of. The only exception is when it's kind of cooled down. If you put your hand in the little bowl of water, he'll come over to say hi.
She leans over the bowl, puts her hand in, has the magma slime kind of explore her hand, and says, "That's kind of interesting. I mean, where is it getting the heat from?" She kind of like kneels down again to like look at this thing like... You know what, I've never really thought about slimes and whether they need to eat to survive. They just sort of consume stuff, and I've never really put more thought of it than that.
I don't know whether they're eating to survive. I mean, I certainly don't want to starve them, but they definitely eat, and they're selective enough about it that makes me think they are getting energy from somewhere else. they also communicate with each other to decide what they're going to eat. Oh, do this. Clara's gonna make the pillar.
She
They'll
stands
respond.
up tall as well, watches the slime stand up, and she sits down for a while, talks with you, and then says, is the idea to find, in some senses, uses for them as well? I mean, I'm not talking about, putting them to hard labor, but if the magma slime really puts off heat all the time and doesn't mind cooling down, I can think of some stuff that, or maybe could use the heat for something useful.
If anything, I think they actually enjoy it. A couple of days ago, when I came back from my trip, I was looking for something to do. I wondered what they enjoyed, and they indicated that they just wanted me to put stuff in the vivarium, and they spent probably a good couple of hours just passing it between them, sorting it out, spitting things back at me that they didn't want or I could use for something else. They seem to actually enjoy having something to do. Part of the reason was that, when I went down into the sewers, I kind of felt bad that they were down there seemingly doing things, and we just think of them as a nuisance. They kind of have uses in their own way, and ones they seem to actually enjoy. Kind of like carpenters enjoy making new things. The slimes at least seem to enjoy sorting.
She says, well, honestly, my aunt had this hunting dog, but she never really went out. You could tell it was bored. It caused all sorts of nuisance. I used to take it for long walks with my dad, and that sort of, I don't know, when they're not bored anymore, they don't cause as much trouble. Maybe it's something similar.
It wouldn't surprise me. My end-of-year project is about discussing potential uses and solutions for these plants and animals that we see as, I suppose, a burden, but we've never actually taken the time to figure out more about them. Not that I'm expecting this club to do something so grandiose, and not that I'm expecting anything I write to change the world either, but people are probably more interested than they realize.
I'm doing my paper on material analysis. I do have access to a large amount of different, basically materials as well. She picks up a pen and signs the little board and says, I was just going to pop in to see how things were going, but I could see this might actually help me as well. I'm in.
Well, the Flan Club and I are glad to be of assistance.
She nods and then says, I'll go and fetch some stuff if that's okay. They wouldn't mind if having something to sort, I'm sure.
But honestly, go and bring some things back. You'll see. It doesn't need any explanation on my behalf.
She nods, stands up, and she heads off to her little workshop area to grab a bunch of different metals and other fabrics and things to bring them back, because she was studying material densities and otherwise anyway. So yeah, she'll head off. Clara, the rest of the day kind of peels by. A few people pop in, take a look around, have some conversations, but they do seem to leave after a little bit, Clara. Most of them already have clubs, is one of the big problems you're coming up against, is their time is sort of committed in a sense. So you've got people that you sort of see are interested and then sort of peel away once they realize they don't really have time to also kind of slot in this interesting but different thing as well. As the day is kind of getting on, and obviously Mary has brought back some stuff and they're sorting through stuff, there is one more knock. Mistle walks in, looks around, and says, I heard you were starting a club.
Yes. I'm a little bit sad that it's going to take some of my time away from chess practice, but I think it's the right thing to do.
I'm a little bit sad it's taking away a good rival, at least in terms of chess. She walks over, looks at the different plants. Her eyes kind of go fuzzy and cross-eyed as she looks at the vines in the back, and she sort of blinks a few times and looks away. Says, so you plan on what? Storing a bunch of curiosities?
Learning about them, and I suppose educating other people if they so wish to be educated. Think of it more as like, well, I was going to call it a zoo, but that's horribly reductive. It's a place to learn and to explore. And if that means that something greater comes of it in the meantime, then that's fine. Who knows? Give it a couple months, maybe I'll have some slimes you can play chess against.
Well, there's no point me going to chess club if there's only people there I'm going to beat anyway, so... she picks up the sign-up sheet and writes her name down.
Are you sure?
Well, I would like some creatures that are perhaps a little more... or perhaps a little less gloopy, but... yes, I'm sure. And who knows, maybe I'll come to enjoy these little... slimes.
Thank you. There hopefully will be some more creatures. I've put in some requisitions, at least from some non-dangerous ones from home. I'm hoping to get an Araf soon, and they're pretty cute in a non-sploogey way. So that might help. Also, I'm serious about the chess thing. I mean, I can just bring my board and we can play rounds in the meantime anyway. But I seriously think some of these slimes could learn to play chess.
She looks at the slimes, looks at you, and says, I have learnt to trust what you say, even if I perhaps don't see a path to it. So for now, very well, I look forward to playing chess against such a slime.
I'm going to do this because I think you will perhaps feel a little silly. But from the Flan Club and I, hello, and until next time. And Clara's gonna pillar all the slimes.
She looks at the 5 of you, because Mary would also join in and pillar herself. And there is a look of, I signed that piece of paper perhaps a little too quickly. But at the same time, she smiles and says, yes, I am looking forward to seeing what you have to teach me.
You know what feels really ridiculous, just as an aside? You know, like, when you play through, like, Final Fantasy X or whatever, and they all do, like, the Yevon bow?
Yes.
And people are like, what the hell is this? And it's just, like, an insular greeting.
Yeah.
I've now realized that just becoming a pillar has become the Flan Cub's insular greeting.
This is your Blitzball prayer, yeah.
This is my Blitzball. That's so stupid.
I can't wait for us to, like, time skip at some point in a further campaign 2,000 years into the future, and everyone stands real tall to say hello to each other, and no one knows why.
We were here for its humble beginnings.
But yeah, Mistil says, there are some creatures from Dulukop that might be of interest as well. My mother keeps a collection of small drakes. I'll see if she'll send one.
That'd be brilliant.
Well, see ya. And she kind of, like, leaves the room. Mary looks at you and says, she's not one.
In the nicest way possible. So are we, I think.
That's so fucking rich coming from her after the tall greeting.
Yeah. She just nods and says, yeah, suppose so. Thursday evening comes after your clubs. Axel has left a note for you all, again in your pigeonhole, saying for each of you to bring a source of radiant damage with you to the combat practice tomorrow. Whatever that might be, grab a crystal that is able to deal such a damage. It also notes that acid and poison are also good picks.
But radiant is required.
Now I'm thinking about it. As long as one of you has one of each, you'll be fine. So, like, basically, he leaves a note that, like, these damage types are very good to bring tomorrow. Acid, poison, and radiant.
Who wants what?
I can do a little bit of both. Because I have a spell that will give me radiant damage to my attacks, and then through my own intrinsic features, I can do acid damage once per turn.
So Atira's got acid and a little bit of radiant.
There aren't really that many things that deal poison damage to my memory. What a rare damage type.
Yeah, kind of, for spells.
Let me have a look. Where's Salt by Poison?
Is Sickening Ray a poison damage one, or does it just
Yeah,
poison?
Ray of Sickness is poison damage.
They really didn't have a lot of poison spells to like Tasha's, especially in the low levels.
The poisoned condition would also work as well.
Oh, you can get it on Chromatic Orb, so actually I already have poison
True.
and acid.
Chromatic Orb does work.
Yeah. I had to go check whether those were in the list, but they both are acid and poison. So I will just keep my Chromatic Orb crystal that I've had since the beginning of the game. I could also, I suppose, stir something with my spider staff and throw it.
That would work.
I believe, yeah. I think Dave would mostly go for... I think the most cost-effective way to do this would be to just buy a few bottles of poison that he can douse over his gauntlets. Or essentially, he can just, strictly speaking, buy 2 flasks of poison mid-fight, take them into his hands and just crunch them.
Yep.
The flasks. Immediate poison application. Please, it's gauntlets. Like, I'm not gonna hit shards in there. But yeah, like, I'm gonna douse my hands in poison, sure, but I'm not sure that would be too worrisome to me. I don't know. Sam says that's some kind of super fast application that forces me to do a constitution check or some shit, or is it just flavor?
I think because you're wearing gauntlets, you'd be okay. Obviously, you'd want it to be a... You both do and don't want it to be a contact poison in that sense. Although I guess when you hit something, you would injure it too, so it's like...
I'm going to pitch an idea of a slight weapon modification to just have some punch knife style thing attached.
A little like injector type thing? That would take some time.
Not even necessarily an injector, just like some kind of spike on your gauntlet that you can apply the poison to instead of just coating yourself.
That would require a mount though. Like it would still require some dedicated hardware on those gauntlets.
For a pinch,
even if it's simple.
In this situation right now, Dave, right? Yeah, picking up some poison vials would be fine as like a thing to do from the requisitions office to just fill a gap for a sec. Yep. And then if you wanted to make more of a thing in the future, you could.
And like, I don't think Dave would, because like the poison is a means to an end because it's necessary, not because it's particularly conducive to his fighting style. And I don't think such a spike for applying poison would be useful for anything other than poison. So
I'm having some.
I think it works mostly the way it does.
With Roll20 in the background here, this is interesting. I've put like a token for Axel in the combat map, and when I move Axel, it creates a copy of Axel that I can then move, and it creates a copy, but the original one still exists, and if I move it, it creates a copy. So it's like infinite recursions of him. And
This has been a Roll20 bug for like the past couple of weeks.
interesting.
No matter how many times it's been reported, it still seems to be just in perpetuity.
What I might do is just theater of mind it instead, because it's just going to continue making duplicates on my end, so I'll just theater of mind this one. It won't change too much. Cool, thank you for letting me know that. I've not seen that before.
Been doing my absolute head in for the past couple of weeks. So
kind of crazy. I've been like listening and talking and like trying to work out like, is it because this is like this, or like deleting it, leaving the map, going back? It's like, nope, still there. Okay, well, did anyone have anything more they want to do to sort of grab a radiant or poison or acid damage type for the conflict?
Yeah, I'm very curious to find out if Axel counts as a shape changer.
Axel probably would count as a shape changer, yes, Uther.
Oh, I was right. See, I had that thought after you had mentioned we were going to be fighting Axel again, and I'm like, does he count as a shape changer? I'm going to bring Moonbeam just to see what happens. And then you leave the bring a radiant source.
Well, yeah, Moonbeam would definitely count.
Well, I'm ahead of the game.
Uther's got Moonbeam on him. Okay. I think that sounds like a fair, decent sort, because at Hero you can do acid every single round, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, in which case, unless there's anything more you want to do, we can cut to Friday morning.
I would, given I saved a lot of time on the question of how do I get my damage done by just, I don't know, buying 4 vials of poison, I would like to spend the rest of the time that I just saved to figure out, to see if I can. I don't think I can get rune stitching done this week for Fiona.
You can give me an in-check this evening, yeah. Like, you're pushing yourself a little because, you know, you're weaving it into studies and other things, but yeah, we can definitely roll for it.
Yeah. Where is it? Where is roll? There's Roll20. Because the alternative would be I figure out the long-lasting taste and make some long-tasting cheesecake. Would be the alternative project, but that's for later, I think, when I've had more time to study the supernatural. Int check, you say?
Please.
Yep. Oh, definitely not this week.
Yeah, sorry, Dave. You find yourself sort of just straining your attention as you're sat there. You have to like reread the same line a few times over and over, and you're also like half trying to remember all the stuff that Umi told you as well. So it's sort of like you kind of feel like you made some progress, but you're also like, yeah, burning out a little bit, Dave. Heading to bed that evening. Unfortunately, having not made much in the way of progress so far. Axel is waiting for you all in the sort of like communal area that morning. He has himself a little like pot noodle as you're getting up. He's kind of sat with his jacket discarded, wearing like a shirt. He has a set of objects on him that he doesn't normally have. One looks to be like a SWAT riot shield that's lent in one corner. He's also got it's a crystalline crystal that looks to be, for lack of a better word, like corrupted and darkened. And otherwise, he's just kind of sat eating this little like pot noodle for breakfast. I think Uther and Dave are usually the first ones up, so when you walk out, he looks up at you and says, "Good morning."
That's not a great breakfast. If you wait a little, I'm making some salad anyway.
Well, if you're offering, I'm supposed to. And kind of looks at the pot and then nods and says, "If you're offering."
Make my way to the kitchen and go where Dave belongs, in the kitchen. And just toss a little bit of salad and dressing together, roast a few almonds, No, not almonds. Pinion cannon. Pine ores.
Pecan?
No.
Pecan?
Pecan?
Maybe.
Pecan? I think so.
Strange seeds that, when you roast them, go well with salad. I don't know the English name.
Maybe pine nuts.
Yeah, it could be.
Pine nuts.
I would also say walnut. Well, I quite like most nuts in a salad, but yeah. Yeah, he sits down and eats what you give him and says, maybe I should pop in every morning, just for breakfast.
It's starting to become a food store, I just know it.
I'm so bad at remembering to eat myself.
Now, soon you'll be living the prime cuisine like the rest of us. Good morning, by the way.
Good morning.
Morning.
How is everyone doing, settling back into the routine of being here?
Not.
I mean, it's fine. I'm a club leader now.
I saw the papers cross my desk. I half read them.
Thank you for the half of your attention you dedicated.
Well, I fully signed it.
Well, I know that.
First and last, or just first?
No one else knows my last name, so just first.
Oh, so you only half signed it.
That's not how that works, Uther. Speaking of which, I haven't heard more from you about this warehouse you wanted to go to.
You wanted to go to a warehouse?
I have suspicions of corruption in higher ranking offices that I don't want to jump on without us actually doing something relevant to our current mission, so we don't look like lunatics jumping at shadows. Does that sound reasonable as an excuse?
He looks at you and says, if we go and there's nothing there, then there's nothing there. If we go and there's something there, we don't look like lunatics jumping at shadows anyway, Uther. I think you're worrying too much.
Probably. We can discuss it more after the fight, I guess?
Sure. Maybe I can use up your Sunday. It'll be like old times.
The old times haven't even been 2 months.
Doesn't it feel like forever ago, though, Dafa?
To be honest, yes. Out of curiosity, do all third-year students, like the non-combat ones, have some kind of, let's say, very advanced specialty? I got to know Umi yesterday, and I am kind of flabbergasted with the things she's capable of doing.
Not everyone follows a path to the utmost. I think in some senses it takes someone who isn't afraid of being a little bit different than everyone else to do that. If that makes sense to you, Dafa.
I guess she taught me a little bit more respect of the, not that I didn't have any before, but still, it increased my reverence for the non-combat students, because with the recipes she has in her book, if you have her as your enemy, your life is just going down the shitter.
You'll be surprised, yeah. I mean, some of the non-combat students they'll be the ones feeding you the mission reports before you go into conflicts. Those who are good at divining information or otherwise investigating will be more valuable to you than you can imagine. Not to mention those who will be able to supply you with healing supplies and other things out in the field. Those who can get things out to remote areas. It's a good time to be making friends like that.
A side note, Uther, because you have this questioning look on your face. Imagine forever and ever being just 1 minute late to an appointment or a train ride or an elevator and not knowing why.
Axel has a look on his face as he considers if he's ever accepted a drink from that girl before, as like some of his life starts to like. As he's like, hang on a minute. As he's like, no, that's an everyone deals with that. As he like looks at you with a strange expression.
Right.
I mean,
so don't cross
occasionally
the
everyone is
girl
late.
or check everything.
But
for
not that
tampering.
often.
Got it.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure how she does it, but I think there's something there that would be worth figuring out, particularly if, I don't know, can make some kind of distant health smoothie or the like. That could be worth tinkering with.
Knowledge, tools, abilities. It doesn't really matter where they come from. It's what you can do with it at the end of the day.
Destined for great gains.
Is everyone ready for practice today? Have you all gathered crystals and other things that you might use in conflict?
Sure thing.
Sir, yes, sir.
I have a couple
I
more
point to like.
gifts for you as well, but I'll explain them once we're in the room. Once you guys have eaten breakfast, he'll pick up that shield and head out with you towards the lift down into sort of the subterranean combat rooms. Adhira, you are innately aware of the fact that that shield blocks your connection to the lamp, to Terminus, when you're near it. It's like a big old SWAT riot shield, like tower shield type thing with a gap through it.
When I'm near it, it's like within any direction or right in front of it?
When you are in front of it, in like a cone pointing at you, basically. If you're in front of it, it's like a cone that comes out of it.
Beholderkin-like, I get.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. You guys ride the elevator down and head into the like danger room area, and Axel will kind of lean the tower up against the wall and say, the task force has been given a small number of dimensional anchor artifacts. This is one of the ones that the peacekeepers have available. I have been able to borrow it since there are no operations today. It is useful. The deprived have a innate link to the space that they come from, and there the energy that they can grab is infinite. This means that the magic they can produce is infinite as well. These shields suppress that magic. It prevents them from both casting spells and regenerating the covering that they can produce. Not sure how much you know about the deprived, but they have an individual at their core, usually kept clinging to life by the outer layer. You will have to peel back the covering and attack what's at the center of it, the person that it has taken control over, in order to fully defeat the entity on the outside. The best way to peel back the outside is with acid or fire or radiance. Setting it alight, fully burning it, is one option. Once the outside is peeled away, you need to attack the core. Poison is particularly effective against the individual within. That makes sense?
Sure, I got it.
I think so, yes.
He steps away from you more towards the center of the room and says, I'll be playing this part of the deprived. I will be covered in a darkness that you must peel away and attack the core. one of you, if you wish, may use the shield. Otherwise, the darkness that surrounds me will recover quite quickly.
Does anyone know how to use the shield properly?
I mean, let's say
Shakespeare.
I don't have particularly much technique that can suffer, so I guess.
I forget. I need to...
So, are you picking up the
So
shield, Dafer?
pretty much,
Okay.
which means I don't have offhand attacks. I think.
No offhand attacks, but your AC is increased by 3.
3.
Yeah,
Huh. 18
big,
AC.
heavy enchanted shield. You can see so there's like a couple of arm bars that you loop your arm through and you can grab hold of. You can have the shield either kind of pointing out to the left-hand side of your body or in front of you. You also see that there does appear to be some sort of... it's like a twisty dial on the inside of the shield that opens and encloses the dimensional anchor within. Adhira, you'd recognize the material that kind of wraps around this central piece as being the kind of material that your lamp goes into during your like therapy sessions. So it's like a turn up and turn down for the cone on this anti-magic shield, basically. So Dafer, you can like put it further out from you or not. By default, it pushes out about a 15-foot cone, but it can go all the way to no emanation or to 30-foot cone, if that makes sense to you.
Sorry.
Okay.
So, shield is magical shield have +3.
Yeah.
Can emit a cone on when?
So it's got like a beholder's eye. There's an anti-magic cone that comes out to it, a 15-foot one. And you can dial it between 30 foot and 0 feet, basically. You can turn it off. It's a bonus action to turn the dial.
Okay. So to change the range, check.
Yeah.
Okay. And it's currently tuned to 15 feet.
Its default is like 15 feet, basically.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Does that shield have a particular kind of name? Otherwise, I'll show dub it Beholder Shield.
I think I just noted it down as like, because it's a dimensional anchor shield, so I just wrote that, but that's not particularly snappy, but...
Dimensional Anchor Shield is fine. I'm gonna call that Dimensional Anchor Shield. Okay. Okay. Plus. It's +3 AC.
Before the fight breaks out, is there anything you want to do, cast, sort out?
Yes, I'm going to put my Emboldening Bond onto Dafer and Caliban. So as long as you stay within roughly 30 feet of each other, you basically have, like, Bless. Well, it's I think Bless plus Resistance, because you can use the D4 for anything.
Oh yeah, you can use it on a saving throw as well. Very nice.
Yeah, but it's once per turn, instead of, like,
Everything.
constant.
Yeah.
Is this a wide open arena type deal?
You know the combat room you had it in before? It's like I think it's like maybe like an 80-foot by 80-foot square or something like that. So like
okay.
decently sized.
No
terrain, yeah.
Okay.
And Dafer would get out his Warding Bond crystal, and then stare between Adhira and Uther. Which of the two squish gets the buff, and is very uncertain. I'll just roll a 1d2. Let's say 1 is Uther, 2 is Adhira.
I've got reach now, so I can stay.
That doesn't mean much.
Yeah. So
Uther, you get the Warding Bond, which means +1 AC, +1 to saves, and damage halves.
1 second. Let me add that.
Axel, in the middle of the room, taps the darkened crystal, and you watch as tendrils wrap out around his body from the crystal and begin to completely encapsulate kind of his form, and it looks almost like dark vines of literal like shadow wraps around him until he's about 10 foot tall and almost got like claws and other things, like a strangely modified version of kind of like a Tasha's transformation or something like that, as he takes on a much more demonic looking appearance. Looks down at his hands and looks at himself and then nods to himself and like opens up the hands, and the claws extend even further from his palms.
Adhira grimaces. A bit too familiar for my liking.
Go ahead and roll for initiative.
Well, that's mildly horrifying. Oh boy, I'm slow shit.
Is that everyone? 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 5. Caliban, your teacher has turned into a sort of demonically entwined, kind of like the Deprived, but still slightly different, some sort of like magically enhanced version of himself. What would you like to do?
Well, I'm gonna do what worked last fight during the spar, and I'll take center stage and take the dodge action.
Okay, running up and taking a defensive position in front of him.
Yes.
He will use a legendary action. There are... Give me 1 second. Kind of like sharp protrusions that begin to emanate out and around him, and they begin to chase you around, sharp spikes going for you as you try to defend them away from yourself. 15 doesn't break your AC, right, Caliban?
It's not.
You're able to dodge out of the way, bring your blade up, deflect these tendrils of attack that are kind of coming at you from different directions. Clara.
Okay. It was... No, I should probably save my actual damage until we open the thing. Because Adhira has acid but not poison, and I have poison.
Mm-hmm.
I suppose I'll test the waters. I'll throw the chakram.
Yeah.
And see what happens. I miss entirely.
At night, you throw it towards him, and it like goes to go through these tendrils that just split apart, and your blade disappears through the gap and kind of returns to you from there.
Hate that.
Happy at a distance though, Clara?
Yeah, I'm not getting closer.
Atira.
About... He's close enough that Caliban got in.
Yeah, we'd say he was about 30 foot away, so Caliban moved his full speed and kind of got up next to him, Atira.
I'm going to run up at him, holding a crystal, pulling a spell into existence, and then break down into a slide and slap my hand against the leg as I cast Bestow Curse.
What kind of save is that?
It is a wisdom save. DC 15.
A DC 15 wisdom saving throw. Your crystal taps. The anti-life magic that courses from the crystal hits the tendrils, and you watch as two kind of basically like similar styles of magic impact each other, and it sort of like nullifies and withers away Atira against the outer form.
I'm going to Grimace, and for my bonus action, I will spend a point of spirit for disengage, and sort of kick myself out and away from him, 20 feet.
20 foot.
Wait,
back.
am I at 60 yet? Yeah, 20 foot. Okay.
As you rebound back, find your footing. I need a Constitution saving throw, as he will use 2 legendary actions against you, Atira. 19. You make the save as the tendril's jaws open up, and the magic of your curse coalesces in his mouth, and like a beam of pure dark energy, it lances across the surface of your body, almost reflecting the curse back through you, Atira, but you're able to stave it off as your body your shell pushes the energy out and away from you. It refracts off of you and slams into the different walls and things like that. Dafer.
Okay, I am going to approach the deprived, the actual deprived.
Yeah.
Going to enter into an overload. I think I'm gonna still stick within roughly a 20 feet range and trying to circle around into, actually not 20 feet, 15 feet.
Yeah.
Circle around so that I'm in like, I have decent, I don't know, 90-degree angle roughly from anyone else so that nobody is in the cone area.
But Axel himself is still in the cone?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the goal. That I'm like on a side from him where nobody is about to enter that cone area. And besides Axel. And from that I then recklessly like put the shield to the side for a moment because it's so heavy and I can't aim with that thing. I'm not that strong. So I just ram it into the ground, free myself for a moment, shoot 2 shots recklessly into his direction, as evidenced by the fact that I don't wear the shield at the moment, and then put the shield back on. So that is 2 reckless main attacks. Overload, yes. I'm gonna use thunder damage because why not?
Yep.
For the first one.
Hits.
Do I have is this all about damage, or do I have a option to reduce the shell?
So what you see is the impact ripples across the surface of tendrils. This outer layer has resistance to pretty much most damage, Dafer. As you watch it, it's ablative, it's protecting him. There's nothing you can rip away, but you can see what the benefit of peeling back the outer layer with radiance or acid would be, right? Like, this thing is protecting him.
Okay. In that case, my task is mostly stray damage and applying my rune to make attacking annoying. In that case, another attack, overload, another thunder.
This one misses.
It's fine. I did my job. My sigil, my rune was applied to him. In that case, I stick within my 15 feet distance.
So you pick the shield back up and put him in the cone of the shield? Okay.
Yeah.
On his turn, he fully puts himself into the cone. Your rune deactivates as it is from a different plane of existence. And then he reaches up into the air, arms forming into blades, and he will swipe at Caliban. Technically, it's just a modified version of this. 18 misses you, Caliban. 14 misses you as well. As 2-bladed arms sweep past you. But he will remain in the cone for now, Uther.
Well, Let's see here. Well, we got to make room, so I'm just going to attempt to paste this. Oh, that didn't take 6 months. I'm going to go ahead and cast Moonbeam centered on Axel.
You can cast a spell, Uther. You would realize that he's in the cone, so he's in an anti-magic space. Your spell as well won't go into there. So you can cast a spell, and it will still be up, but it will be suppressed so long as the anti-magic cone is on that spot.
Alright then. Loophole.
Yeah.
Is he on the edge of the cone, or is he, like, deep in the cone?
He is on the edge of the cone, because that's how Dafer's positioned himself, so that he's at 15 foot away, yeah.
Moonbeam will be right there. Caliban, if you have any way to knock him back, that'll be real funny.
So you cast the spell behind, like, on an edge next to Axel, so that it's on the other side of Dafer, basically.
Yeah, so if Axel gets moved a square back, he gets got by the beam.
Yeah, absolutely. End your turn, Uther? Or are you moving closer? Or?
Nope. I'm gonna keep Caliban and Dafer in between me and Axel, because this is concentration.
Axel, seeing the cone behind him, will use a legendary action. Caliban, can you please give me an athletics check? Or an acrobatics check?
Alright. Oh, fuck.
Oh, no.
Tendrils wrap around you, Caliban, and he turns and he throws you into the moonbeam.
Oh.
Well, give me a con save.
Constitution save. I'm gonna become you to the fucking moon. Fuck.
Please roll for damage.
I would like to note that Clara did cast Emboldening Bond on both of us. We have 1d4, so we can add once per turn.
What is this gonna do?
1d4 wouldn't help in this situation, but it is good to remember.
It would have helped earlier.
Just over.
Sorry?
Oh, I was checking what Caliban would have needed to get out of the full damage of the beam.
Oh, gotcha. No, yeah, not quite. Lucky for you, Caliban, you just about graze it, as Axel himself doesn't want to put his tendrils into the beam, so you're like, let's go, after swinging you around, and kind of throws you grazingly through the pillar of light that you take
carry
for.
the moonbeam?
No, I think it has to be a weapon attack, but that would be cool, I won't lie to you. Unfortunately not at this point, Caliban.
Reflected through his eyes.
If you had, like, a big mirror shield or something, I might be able to imagine it, but with a thin beam of like, a sword, not quite. Caliban, it is your turn, however.
Did he let me go? Or
Yeah, he had to let you go because he didn't want to put his own tendrils into this beam of light.
I'm gonna see if there's any way where I could just, like... Where I could just push him.
Yeah, give me... It'd be an athletics check on your part.
Oh boy, that's gonna suck, but... Or what can you do?
Unfortunately, you both rolled really badly. As you slam up against him, the two of you are kind of dancing on the edge of this beam and wrestling. That is an attack. And I think... do you guys have 2? I can't remember if you guys hit 5 or not. You did, right?
Yes.
Oh, I have
We did hit.
You do have a second attempt if you want. Otherwise, you can attack.
Oh, this is gonna be really fucking funny.
17? I rolled a 23 on this one. As you get a better purchase, you slam your shoulder in. Multiple of these tendrils come out, brace himself into the ground. Like, multiple poles, basically stopping you from being pushed back, Caliban.
Can I use my knife?
You can use your knife, yeah, as a bonus action. Natural 20. You slice through one of these tendrils. It does take a little bit of damage.
This is hilarious.
Is that you, Caliban?
That's all.
I think as a legendary action, he will strike you with one of these tendrils. 23.
That hits, yes.
9 piercing damage as you get like the tendril slams across the surface of your shoulder.
Fuck it, I'm parrying that.
Yeah, go for it.
Yep. 1, 10, 5.
Almost completely nullifying it. One dagger cuts the tendril, the rapier parries the second. Clara.
I'm going to spend a full turn. I'm going to stay here. God, that text is insane. I'm going to summon a poisonous snake for later. But that's my turn.
Okay. As you conjure forth the spirit of a poisonous snake. Adhira.
So, nowhere to be able to get up close and hit it with magic at the moment.
He's in the cone, so like he himself is in the cone.
I'd almost say turn.
If you have an area
to
of
turn the
effect.
cone off, yeah. All she can do is run up and hit him twice.
Yep.
With her scythe. Let me turn off something real quick, since none of those would be on now.
Natural 1, you watched like the superior combat reflexes of Axel steps to the side as the scythe whiffs past him. 9 ducks the second swing.
She's going to back up to here. And looks at the cone with displeasure before activating a spell, Shroud of Spirits. She is going to invoke Divine Power, Radiant Power, as the dark green of her cloak becomes something more akin to the starry sky.
And is that the one that gives you the 15-foot circle around you, right, Atira?
No. Let me actually...
I'm just trying to work out which one this is.
Spirit Shroud. Call for spirits of dead, which float around you for the spell's duration. Any creature of your choice that you can see if it starts its turn within 10 feet of you has its speed reduced by 10 feet until the start of your next turn. So no aura.
I don't recognize this spell. Is it new?
No, it's been around. Let me send you this.
Yeah, please.
Should we put it in?
Is that the third level cleric one?
I don't think it is.
Third level necromancy.
What spell?
It was in Tosh Cauldron.
Oh, it's somewhat new. Just nobody uses it.
Gotcha. So the effect is
I've used third round.
the target is slowed, yeah. So like it has less movement speed, no damage, or it does do damage as well.
No. Until the spell ends, any attack I make deals 1d8 extra damage.
Extra damage
within 10 feet of you.
I'm vaguely recalling this spell now. Sorry, I was just a little bit confused. I thought it was one spell, but it clearly wasn't.
I'm gonna be real. A lot of these necromancy spells are blending together. Spirit this, spirit that.
End of Adhira's turn. Axe will use the final legendary action to strike again at Caliban, trying to wear through your frontline defenses here. 12, however, misses, blocked by the AC of Caliban. Defer. At the moment, you can see obviously that your allies and your enemy are sort of benefiting and also not benefiting from this cone at present.
I mean, pretty much all I see is that the shield currently is a liability of the highest order. It's not useful, it's actually harmful. So I just turn off the effect.
Okay,
It is rather
the cone of control sort of disappears, yeah.
And then I make my way to where Caliban is, and Actually, I'm just gonna try to body tackle Axel into the moon.
Yeah.
Into the moonbeam. That is an athletics check. I have advantage on those.
He is braced in a way to stop Caliban pushing, so when you come in from a different angle, slam your shoulder in, several of these hardened tentacles snap. He is shoved into the moonbeam. Is that a constitution saving throw on his part?
Yes.
Yes. Fails the save, so does take the full whack of radiant damage. 7. As the moonlight peels down, it pushes away the darkness and exposes a section of Axel on the inside as you see your instructor revealed beyond the darkness within.
As in, is he slowly being exposed, or is he actually already accessible for an attack?
It's peeling away the dark, but the dark is returning at the same time, so it's like he is exposed and accessible for an attack, but you can see that the darkness is pushing back.
Okay. So it would make sense to wear that down still more.
Yeah.
In that case, Defa would take a... grapple him there, or do I... Yeah, grapple him there. Defa would make another attempt, but this time to grapple him to make sure he stays in the moonbeam.
Okay. 20 on
He's
my
going to
part.
make another con save at the start of the turn anyway.
Athletics, and I have advantage, so that's a 21, as I am in overload.
21 would succeed, so yeah, he is still held in place.
And that is my turn.
I'm
now.
Con save at the start of his turn, yeah?
Yes.
8 fails, takes the full whack once more.
Hey!
Nice roll. 16 is... Dafer, with your hands in there, I'm trying to work out whether you would... I don't think so by the rules, because he's still, like, you could probably hold him so he's, like, half in and half out, so I'm okay with that. On his turn, however, the magical abilities that he has are no longer suppressed. He is going to pull a section of his darkness free and lash out in a straight line. Dafer, Caliban, and Uther, please give me a dexterity saving throw, as he will cast Lightning Bolt.
Oh,
I'm in danger.
Let me double check if I have advantage on that. I think I do.
What is up
Yes,
with
I
my
do.
roll?
Yeah.
Uther, you make the save, you take half.
Do I... I'm gonna add my 1d4 from Clara.
Yeah,
to
Dafer,
this
you
one.
would fail on a 16. An 18 does succeed, so you do take half. So that's 27 damage, halved to 13 if you made the save.
It feels like it's been a million years since I played a rogue hander.
Yeah.
Can I
You can see the
uncanny
damage.
dodge a spell?
No.
that's evasion.
Yeah, it's attack rolls only, Uther.
Okay.
I do need a concentration saving throw from you, please, Uther.
Yep, give me 1 second.
Of course. I think it's DC 10. Yeah, it should just be DC 10.
I just had to shave off a third of my health.
Yep.
Speak for yourself. I don't know what's going on with body rolls.
I'm sorry, some of us don't have nice things. We have low constitution.
I don't understand your problems. By the way, you guys were aware you had your temp HP as per the usual, right?
No.
Uh-huh.
If you don't say, we
Okay.
have temp HP.
No. We established this like a couple sessions ago, or not a couple sessions ago.
You
Ages
think
ago.
we can remember
Do
that
you
far
expect
back?
our memories to work?
To be fair, no, I will defend here. We did have this conversation. It has also been posted in the chat at least twice this session.
How
Reads.
much temp HP?
Where?
The rest of you did you just chat shit?
How
Use
much?
your eye.
How much temp HP does everyone have, Dafer?
Okay. Depends on how you want to rule this. Typically, you say
We'll
during
just-
or
we'll just
we
give him the
establish
max. Just give him the max.
Okay, 6.
Everyone has 6 temp HP.
Okay, let me just add 6 actual HP back to my hit
Yes.
points.
And I.
All good. We know. It's all good. That was Axel's turn. He casts a spell. Uther, back to you.
How far roughly am I from?
You're somewhere between 30 and 40 feet away.
Then I'm going to move up at a slight angle and get within. I'm going to get within 20, and I'm probably going to regret it. But I am now going to just be annoying and.
Yeah, the core of Axel is exposed. The darkness is peeled back.
Oh.
19 would hit. 6 damage takes the full whack.
1 second, I forgot to apply the funny.
Oh, you would have sneak, yeah. Woo! Big, heavy impact as the dish slices against shell barrier. Yeah, you've
His
got...
movement is reduced.
True.
And that'll be me. I'm just going to try to keep the moonbeam up.
He will expend 2 legendary actions to cast a spell. He is going to target you, Adhira. I need a dexterity saving throw, please.
Okay.
18 does succeed. Give me 1 second. A cloud of sharp material kind of bursts forth from his back, and almost as if remotely controlled begins to dance around you and attack you. Different blades of tendrils that have separated from his body. You dodge a good portion of them, so you take 6 points of damage.
Let me make a concentration save.
Sorry, if the bond isn't on you, Adhira, you would take 12. 18 is the DC. So you do take 12 points of damage, Adhira, and your spell does drop, unfortunately. Caliban.
I think now's a good time to go on as much of the offense as I can manage.
Yeah.
First off, second wind.
Yes, good shout.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, you get 8 health back. Shell replenishing.
6. And I'll go around, see if I can get an angle of attack.
Yeah.
And then attack. 1.
17 hits. 9 damage as you strike at the shell barrier of Axel, the outer shell removed. 22 hits as well. Another 6 damage.
Action surge.
Yeah, go for it. 9 would miss, unfortunately. Does manage to block that. 9 as well as both action surge strikes. Axel kind of looks at you and realizes what's about to happen, Caliban, as he knows that look in your eye as you move forward, and just layer upon layer of defense starts to pop up as the first 2 strikes catch, but the next ones are blocked against as you keep swinging.
Damn.
Anything else, Caliban?
That'll be all.
He uses last legendary action. His tendril attacks can attack everyone around him, so he will attack both of you. First against Dafer, 15, and then 26 against Caliban, I'm afraid.
Hold on, let me just check something real quick.
15 misses Dafer.
Let me just check something. So if in... Okay, never mind. That would hit.
26 does hit, okay. 11 piercing damage, Caliban.
I'll parry that again.
Yep. Another single point slips through Caliban.
Alright.
Clara, your enemy's core is exposed.
Okay, the first thing I'm going to do is send in the snake.
It just sneaks in behind, yeah.
I don't know who drew the snake, but someone needs to move the snake.
I can do this. Behold my power.
It's a poisonous snake.
You made a
Why is it
you made a
sucking on Caliban?
Pokemon as a flaming sphere. Why can't you just make like an Ekans?
I don't think
no,
a
that
14
was
is
me.
going to hit.
A 14 is
The
disgustingly
snake was me.
close to hitting, but doesn't hit, I'm afraid, Clara, as you try not to lose your snake to the moonbeam.
Good try, poisonous snake, next time. As for me, I'm gonna spend my bonus action to steady aim because it applies on attack rolls, which is handy. And then I'm gonna try and chromatic orb the center.
Oh shit, yeah.
26.
26 certainly hits. Go ahead and roll for damage.
Oh, that's rolling my sneak attack, which sadly I don't get. So just 10 poison.
The core is vulnerable to poison damage, so it does take 20 points of damage as the poison impacts in. Obviously, it doesn't affect Axel that much, but you watch him, like, dial the amount of energy his shell's outputting down, and sort of gives you a nod, Clara. You also get a teamwork point that you can hand out to another ally.
Oh, I might immediately spend that teamwork point, to be honest.
Yeah? Who do you want to call in?
David, did you poison your gauntlets?
Yes?
Then I will give it to Dafer.
Dafer, go ahead.
Okay. I can't request this one, so it's a normal attack.
Yeah, just a normal strike. Not the highest AC, to be honest.
That's a main attack. That's an overload. That is gauntlet attack. That's still miss.
9, unfortunately, does miss.
Because
Yeah, he's able to block it.
4 isn't gonna do that. Fix that one.
Worth a shot, but doesn't quite connect, Clara.
Cool. That's fine, it's my turn.
Atira.
Having the beautiful glamour of her spell just stripped away, Adhira's face becomes one of frustration as she runs, kind of slides down and pivots using her scythe to come to this side of Axel, and she's going to make 2 scythe attacks. First one.
Hits.
This is going to have spiritual acid on it, and it's going to expend a spirit point for stunning strike.
Yep. 8 points of damage, and a Constitution saving throw against stun. 19.
Succeeds. Second attack.
Unfortunately, 10 does misses. Yeah, the second strike he sees coming, slightly overwhelmed by 3 opponents, but still he is Axel.
Bonus action, lashing out with a kick.
Connects.
Make a Constitution saving throw.
Yep. 17.
Makes it, and
Yeah.
she will back away.
Okay. Dafer, back to you. You can see Axel gathering the massive shadow as there are sparks of energy. He's looking to cast another spell. You can see him winding up for it, Dafer.
Okay. I mean, first order of business is, I think, still smashing his face in with, I think, ramming shield into the ground to this side again, like freeing that one arm, since one arm has to hold Axel, the second one like it has the shield, so it's like oh, so freeing that arm, which is like a fairly reckless move, and then just trying to hammer fist into face, drenched in poison and like glass shards.
Yeah.
So that is my 2 attacks. So that's a main attack with overload on the gauntlets. That's the first one. That's a 25. That's with poison damage.
hits.
I'm actually not sure how that one applies.
So
I just have poison on the gauntlets. I don't know what that does.
So he will need to make a Constitution saving throw. He will be at disadvantage because of the nature of what he is playing at the moment. 7 fails. He is poisoned. You can hand a teamwork point to someone, and he has disadvantage on attack rolls and saving throws while poisoned.
Who has anything in that direction? Farah just used her thing.
Give it to the snake.
Move.
The snake does deal poison damage, by the way. That's why I summoned the snake.
I'm morbidly. I think it would be funny. Like as Dafer holds Axel, like or like brings him close to him and just try to hammer his fist into Axel's face. The snake slips in, tries to bite.
Yeah, you basically like push him towards the snake. I guess if you want to cash it in now, yeah, the snake can attack.
Go, snake!
Yeah, I
You were
think
so
it's
close.
No! Ah! He puts his foot down, accidentally like stands on the snake's head as the snake is just like squirming around on the ground a little before his foot comes back up. Unfortunately, no.
I think second punch to the face.
Yeah.
Again, recklessly, so at advantage. That's a 14, I believe that misses.
This one does manage to block, yeah.
Yeah. Now I am at an unfortunate question. Either I leave him in the moonbeam, which would be, I think, nice, but that would mean we eat a spell.
If you want to make an Arcana check, Dave, I'll tell you what spell he's casting.
Sure, that wouldn't hurt. The thing is, I can't turn it off and on.
No, but it gives you more information to evaluate, right? 22. Yeah. He's gonna hit you, Caliban, and Uther with a fireball.
I mean, that's actually more dangerous for Caliban than for you and me, Uther. I have the HP, and you have also my HP, so... that's not too
Caliban's
bad.
built different, though. He's just going to start using that shit on everything, like hot sauce.
I also did the same thing on hot sauce.
Yeah, I think Caliban might not actually do too well being fried by a fireball. Like,
can I replace the dexterity with Constitution?
No, you may not. Dave, for the other thing,
you block it off.
Dave, you could obviously reposition yourself as well to make it so that it would be you and Adhira in a fireball instead. Like, you can see that he's sort of aiming to hit you and someone else at present.
Oh, the snake is dead either way.
That depends on how he casts it, because he'd have to catch himself in it, because the snake's behind him.
I honestly think Adhira survives this better than Caliban would.
He does got good dex, that is true.
Yeah.
If I fail this, it's on you.
That's fine. See, you need to also learn to toughen up, I think.
Learn to toughen up.
Cool.
Take this fireball.
You need to thug it out.
I just really want to keep Axel in this moonbeam. It seems such a nice passive damage thing.
Okay.
That also gives us access to his core, so I'm gonna leave that. Fear.
It is
and-
his turn. He has Constitution at disadvantage. Oh, I'm gonna move him because I'm struggling to access little sheets, but he is still in the yellow dot. There we go. Constitution at disadvantage. 11 fails. Go ahead and roll damage, Uther.
Well, was it?
2d10, 3d10. I can't remember what it is for Moonbeam.
3d10.
Oh,
2d10.
I thought I got fireballed.
No, 2d10 for him failing a con save. 3 damage,
Hold
but
on.
yeah, the core is still open. I'm leaving there. He will cast his fireball, Dafer and Atira, dexterity saving throws, DC 18.
Well, we had time to switch crystals out, and I didn't need slow for this one. I'm gonna counterspell him.
Nice. As the spell is fizzled in the air, you are able to block it, Clara.
Not the snake!
Not the snake.
Good shot.
You have your priorities straight. Your teammates, they can tank a fireball, but not the snake.
Listen, I've seen my teammates tank a fireball. I don't want to be dealing with crispy snake today.
Uther,
Yes.
back to you.
It appears he has left my beam on the
No,
right.
no, he's in the beam. I just had to move him to
Oh.
access his sheet.
Okay.
He's grappled there.
Well, I will throw another thing at him.
Uh, 20 hits. A nice hit, 19 damage. The core is exposed. You're slowly weakening through the shell.
I'm going to get in a little bit closer.
Yeah.
Have I seen what his range is with the tendrils?
10 foot.
or-
You can reach
10
10
oh,
foot.
okay, so we're basically sharing an attack square then.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna move up to like 15. I'm getting closer, but I'm not.
He's just
committed.
at the edge, yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
And that'll be me.
He's going to spend 2 legendary actions to cast a spell. He is going
Not too much
to
there.
Thunder Step to Uther. I need a Constitution saving throw, please, Uther.
I am in danger.
It's fine. He actually has disadvantage.
12.
Fail the save, I'm afraid. So you do take 14 thunder damage.
He takes 7, I take 7.
Yep, 7 each. And I need a Constitution saving throw for Moonbeam. DC 10.
What? Ah, right. Concentration.
Yeah, make the save. Caliban.
Alright. I'm chasing him down.
Yeah. Didn't go that far, about 15 foot. Funny, I can move the token on this map, but not the other one. Maybe it's the grid.
Weird.
10 and natural 1 both miss Caliban as he is outside the moonbeam. You're watching the sort of like shadow emanation begin to grow back around him, magic restoring the form around him as he blocks your attacks.
Damn.
11
not
as well.
having the best,
No,
not
yeah.
having the best rolls.
Not sure how to fight this thing. It's like infinite blades, Caliban, as you're trying to find an angle in, and just more and more tendrils of sharpness begin to appear to like ward you off.
Oh damn.
That you, Caliban?
That's all.
Will use his last legendary action to attack.
I thought he used his last leg.
He used 2 legendary actions for a spell, and he's got 1 for an attack. 13 misses you though, Uther. Clara.
Okay. Come on, Snake, you can do it.
Da 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 da.
Statistically, one of these will land. 20!
It hits!
What's the damage on Poisonous Snake? 1d4 plus 2 plus... Okay. So, he takes 6... What is that, piercing?
It would be piercing, surely,
He takes
yeah.
6 piercing and 4 poison damage.
I am sorry to say that outside of the Moonbeam having had his turn, his outer shell is regenerated. He doesn't take double damage from the poison. So the teeth sink into darkness instead of Axel himself at this point, Clara.
Well, you did something, Snake. I'm proud of you. I don't have anything to get rid of that pesky... I don't think I do, actually. No, I don't think I do. That is unfortunate. I shall just throw a chakram at him. Why not? No, I will not.
No, unfortunately, with the increased defenses, it's almost like he's got eyes in the back of his head. Clara does manage to ward the weapon away with these tendrils.
I'm just gonna back up ever so slightly.
Yeah, pretty much pressing against the wall as you push backwards a little there, Clara.
That's my turn.
Adhira. Axel is out of the Moonbeam and back encased in darkness.
She is going to start running towards him. On the way there, she is going to depress the trigger on her scythe.
Yeah.
And cast Zephyr Strike in preparation.
Yeah.
She'll move through Uther. I guess Flavor is jumping over him and make one unarmed kick.
Are you like stepping on Axel with that kick? Is it like a head step type
Yeah,
thing?
I'm kind of stepping on.
Yeah, hits.
Acid damage as well.
That does reveal the core as your kick hits. It doesn't. So it deals 4 damage because the bludgeoning is half, but the acid peels away the protection around his face.
And now with the opening, she is going to swing her charged scythe. This will be at advantage.
22 hits.
22.
All 12 damage goes through as he is exposed from the core. I guess you fucking Ruby Rose yourself off of his face with the scythe.
Yeah! Movement speed increased by 15, so I can get 25 feet away from him.
Yep. Is that you? Anything?
That's my
more?
turn.
All
That's
right.
her turn.
Dafer. Axel is exposed. If he's outside of the anti-magic cone, he will regenerate at the start of his turn, so the defenses will return. If he's in the cone, he doesn't have enough magical power to return that. That's what you've seen happen so far. Obviously, if he's inside Radiance, then it doesn't matter because Moonbeam will take care of it, but right now he isn't.
Okay. I don't think we have another chance of Moonbeam, so I think Adhira is the only one with a persistent.
Can't we move Moonbeam?
Moonbeam can move.
Yeah, I just need to take an action next turn to move it. It's just he won't take damage until his next go round.
Okay, in that case, I think Dafer will move over if he can. And I think we're going for another first in a grapple.
Yeah.
So that's for me at advantage again.
24.
Okay, now we're going for. Okay, we're going for a second grapple attempt.
Yeah.
I'm gonna wait to see your roll to see if I apply my 1d4.
No,
I apply
you got
my
it.
1d4,
Oh.
and that puts me at 26.
Okay. Yeah. No, you definitely win.
Okay. No, I thought he would just needed to meet my 24 to beat it, so I
rolled a
thought
13.
I would boost on the 24 equal. Oh, you don't have advantage.
No.
Right.
No. Disadvantage even.
Oh god. Okay. Yeah.
All good.
Regardless. Okay. Have him grappled there.
Yeah.
I do not use my bonus action to trigger stuff. Instead, I can't move him. I don't think. Wouldn't have to move him anyway. I don't have the offhand bonus action attack either because I wear the shield, so I think that's it for me.
With his protection back, he's going to target himself as the epicenter and cast a level 3 shatter. So Caliban, Uther, and Dafer, can I get con saves, please?
There goes my eardrums.
15 fails, unfortunately. Caliban, DC's 18. Same for everyone else.
Hold on, can I use the
D4? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, Caliban. You make the save, Caliban, so that goes down to 9 damage you take, Caliban. 19 for Dafer, and then 19 half to 9 for Uther, and another 9 for Dafer. And I'm afraid I do need that Constitution saving throw from you as well, Uther.
I believe in you.
Someone has to.
You make the save. It is your turn, Uther.
Okay, first off, cutting action, disengage.
Yes, Pat.
5, 10, 15. Action.
Move beam.
Oh god, I'm moving everything. Fuck me.
Oh, so that's who the snake belongs to.
Teleporting snake.
Well, I needed to be over there anyway, to be fair.
And yeah, so when he starts his turn in the beam, he will take the damage.
Yeah.
Or if he gets just shoved into
In
the
and
beam.
out.
So if someone wanted to just swing him around.
Ring a roses.
That's you, yeah, Uther.
That's everything I can do.
It is his turn. He has his legendary action. Sorry, it's not his turn, but he has his legendary actions back.
Oh no.
I can 2 for a spell. I think I'm going to use 1 to hit Caliban and Dafer instead. Oh, hang on. I keep closing the sheet for, like, absolutely no reason. I think it's because normally I'm used to bigger fights, and I'm like, I can't have this many sheets open.
Hold on, let's just... I know this is causing difficulty, so I'm just going to do that.
Oh, Roll20 won't let me open a sheet. Give me 1 second. Let's try them anyway. Come on. There we go. Oh, I did have it open. I wonder what I was complaining about then. No, Moonlight only applies at the start of his turn. Day for 15. So I think that misses both of you, doesn't it? Yeah. Caliban.
Alright. Yep. Just hitting again.
Yep. 11 misses. 17 hits. Is half damage as his barrier is still up until the moonbeam strikes, but yeah, lands the strike. 24 hits as well. 1 is half to 0, unfortunately, Caliban. As your wrist is like grabbed as it moves in and like almost lands the blow.
Ah, damn it. Okay.
That you?
That's all.
He will 2 legendary actions. It's gonna target Dafer with an upcast Thunder Wave. I need a Constitution saving throw from you, please, Dafer.
Wait, that was it doesn't matter.
You take half damage, which is 3 points of damage because I rolled abysmally. Clara. His core is
Um,
not exposed at present. Will be at the start of his next turn.
Sadly, I don't have anything I can do to change that.
Yeah.
So,
But hold.
attack and miss,
14 does miss, yeah.
and the snake will bite and miss.
Oh no.
Next
yeah.
turn.
Atira.
Hira is going to move like a bit further away from him, and she is going to hold her action to cast a spell once the moonbeam strips away the core.
Okay. Raising a crystal or using your scythe?
Raising crystal.
Raising a crystal, energy gathering.
Wait,
or...
no, sorry. It is for my scythe. It
okay. Pointing the scythe at Axel, ready to pull the trigger
Yes.
when the moment occurs. Dafer.
Just to be on the safe side, by moving him, I cannot trigger the when a creature enters the spell's area for the first time on a turn.
You are grappling him already, so yeah, you can just move him in and out.
Okay, so that would apply the damage,
Yes.
the trigger condition for,
Yeah, it
for
would.
Moonbeam.
Yep.
Okay. In that case, I would attempt to do that. I'm not typically that I'm not sure how we ruled that one. If
I'll
requires
say
a check or it
I'll
just
give him
happens.
an athletics check for this one. You don't need to spend an
Okay.
action on it, but I will just give him a check to sort of hold his ground, as it were. I am at disadvantage because of the poison applied. 12 fails. Oh, but it is higher than a 10. Oh no, I rolled twice by mistake, so it's 12 for me.
Right. Should I might.
Yes, please.
18.
18, you do succeed. So he does make a con save, which he fails and takes the full whack of radiant damage. Uther?
Boom.
13 damage. Atira, this triggers your trigger.
She casts Ray of Sickness.
Is that an attack roll spell?
Yes.
Yeah, go for
Let's
it.
go ahead and use Spirit Strength. 12, I think.
Unfortunately, yeah, 12 does miss as he is able to sort of like duck the blast with all your allies there. He's able to use them as a shield. Atira. Dafer, it's your turn.
Fine.
You still have your actions and bonus action.
Can I hold a bonus action?
What is it?
Triggering the shield magic
Yes.
spell kind of effect
I'll allow it.
until after
Yeah.
until after he has taken the damage.
Yes, you
from
can.
Moonbeam. Okay. In that case, I would take my action to clock him in the face twice again. So like once again, Dafer faced with the conundrum of not having Dafer faced with the conundrum of not having a hand free. He decides that he does not need to punch with his fist. He can also punch with shield.
I thought you were going to say with his head. I thought you were going to headbutt him. I'll be honest. I was like, now you're thinking with your head.
Trying to shield bash him while holding him.
Yeah.
So that is normal attack. That's an advantage. That's a 19.
19 does hit. 9 damage goes through.
That applies a smite
Oh, another 7 on
because I
top.
can,
Yeah.
and another shield bash top. Gauntlets. That's a
This one he
9.
does manage to block.
Okay, and then I'm gonna hold my bonus action to cut off his magic after he has received the moonbeam damage.
Yeah, it's his turn. Constitution saving throw at the start of his turn.
At disadvantage, if I recall.
13, yeah, because of the poison he does fail the save. Damage from that, Uther.
Another 2d10?
Yeah, please.
Yeah.
Yeah. 3 damage. That's enough. But then the anti-magic shield pops up. Dafer?
Yeah, I'm gonna make that a let's say 5-foot cone just straight in front of me.
Okay, so it's just Axel who's in it.
Yeah.
He will start by attempting to ungrapple himself, so like pull himself free of you.
Should be noted, I still have my 1d4.
18 on my side.
So 18 versus 25.
Seeing that, he's just gonna make 2 strikes with his blade arms. 17 and 12 versus you, Dafer.
Miss both because of the 18 I have with the shield.
Nice. The shield does manage to block both strikes. Uther.
Well, he's in the zone.
Um,
How's he looking?
His shell is supplying energy to this darkness spell. You are seeing the darkness struggle to keep up with the damage that is being output. So he looks fine, but the thing that is mimicking the abilities of Deprived is wavering.
Oh, man, that... part of me doesn't want to get too close, but the other part of me really wants to hit him with a big stick.
He does seem to be on the edge of being... of the spell being, like, destroyed, basically, Uther. It's close.
Want to move in within 10 feet?
Yep.
I'm going to bonk him with the biggest of sticks.
Yep. 14 would miss, unfortunately.
Tragic on my part. Cunning action, disengage.
Yeah, cunning action, step away from him. End of your turn, he will legendary action. He doesn't have his magic, so he's just going to strike at Dafer. 18 does get you, Dafer, for 12 points of damage.
Wait, Warding Bond gives, I believe,
+1 AC to both?
the person that casted it as well.
If that's...
Which would mean I would put me at 19.
In which case, it would miss you, wouldn't take any damage at all. Caliban.
Double checking that, but yeah.
Yeah.
Just gonna.
Try.
I am a fighter, so
Yeah.
I will fight.
Yes, fight away. 12 would miss. 17 hits. Okay. And you bonus action attacking as well?
Yes.
16 hits. Caliban, after all these tendrils block you, now having been diminished by the light of the moon and suppressed by Dafer's dimensional anchor shield, you're able to get your strikes in. How do you want to cut down the last of the darkness?
If they're all converging on me, just like do like a cool whirlwind attack and cut them all down.
You just dive through it, slice with the tip of the sword. The last of the tendrils drop. With that, the darkened crystal sputters to a falting stop. And Axel puts his hands up and says, "Pretty good."
Dafer shakes his head, having been knocked around a little bit. I think we'll need to workshop at that a little bit more.
He nods and says, "The shield isn't the easiest thing to use. It's a benefit and a detriment. You got more of a handle of it later on. I wasn't expecting you to be perfect from the start. That's why we did this." He also leans down and pats the snake on the head and says, "Sorry for stepping on you."
It hisses, I suppose.
He nods.
Those things are kind of scary. It managed to do a lot.
It has an unlimited access to a certain level of magic. If it's not suppressed, it'll be able to call upon it. Pretty much it will. Some of them are stronger, some of them are weaker, but that's the most common type you'll come across.
I don't like that very much.
No, it's not it's not fun to come up against, but it's what we'll have to deal with if we want to put the Glowmide away once and for all.
I mean, without a dimensional anchor, you're pretty much screwed. They can escape from however they can dive, like get past your defenses. I don't know.
You can overwhelm them with sheer firepower if you are able to. Obviously, it's not easy, but there are people that specifically are quite good at it. Obviously, the S-rank #1 has defeated a great many number of these creatures. He's uniquely positioned to do so. People like Empress as well would do well against such a creature. Unfortunately, he'll have his own mission to take care of.
Do you think we'll come close to getting rid of the Glomite with this mission?
I hope so. It's what we're aiming for, isn't it? At the end of the day, we're doing this so the Fjordis family can be together and not have to worry anymore. At the very least, I want to find whatever they're using with the codexes in order to keep certain controls and tabs on people. If we can free people, that'll be enough for me.
I just don't get why they're keeping it up.
In what regard? With the Fjordis?
Yeah.
I don't know either. It could just be that it ties up some of our resources. Could be that it inflicts pain. I don't know much about the people in charge of this organization, other than no one's been able to make anything stick on them. That, to me, tells me that they're at least clever enough to not just let wanton destruction be the goal, but that might just be who's in charge. It doesn't say anything about those in the middle.
I mean, from my experience, it's not like Crescent did a particularly good job of shackling her murderous motives.
No. But it seems like they almost nurtured that. It was useful to them, I suppose, in one sense.
I guess so.
Either way, you managed to handle this. It makes me more comfortable if we happen to be in different assault groups. You'll have peacekeepers with you, probably. If need be, make use of them and their dimensional anchors. If you can call on them to help, do so. But remember, even with years of experience, without a shell, they won't be able to match up to you on the field.
I think if I can more freely... Yeah.
Sorry, what was that, Atira?
Is that all for combat class today?
Yes, that's all. You're free to go.
She's going to fold up her scythe and put it into its case before waving goodbye to everyone and stepping out early.
Is that unusual to anyone else?
I mean, not necessarily. She does have someone outside of the class that she is seeing.
But then, why wouldn't she just tell us she's going to see him?
I mean, if she would say.
Why would she?
Atira, too eager to get away to Andres to remember that she was going to be like, oh, by the way, I'm going to go see Andres.
I have to go do that right now.
I don't know.
I think
maybe I'm too simple-minded on that one, but to me it felt implied.
Axel will just shrug and say, it's just interesting to see her move with such purpose. She likes to take her time with things, I've noticed.
It's the long-lost
That's
art of
referring to her homework.
procrastination.
The spirit of procrastination.
It is referring to her homework.
Oh, no.
But I think that's a good place for us to leave off for today. We go about 3.5 hours or so. So, seems like a good place to finish.
I managed to keep the spell up with a -1.
That was
God.
crazy. I kept trying. I was like, if I can just drop Moonbeam.
You'll drop me before you drop the spell.
It turned out that way, or like it was looking like it was gonna have to be that way. Yeah, which meant I had to drop Dafer.